Campus of Sanford University. Today is football media days for the Sanford Bulldogs. We will talk to Coach Chris Hatcher coming up a little bit later in the program, but we are coming to you live from the Sanford Sports Industry Program headquarters here in the business school at Sanford University. It keeps getting better and better. You and I were here last year, and they're under construction, and they have put us like right here in the middle of the fishbowl. If you're watching us on YouTube, I mean, you cannot miss us if you're on campus and you want to come by and see us.
It's yeah, you're right. We were blown away last year.
Yeah.
And there's such gracious hosts. But coming into this building, and I know that there's currently another building that is in progress, and they're really excited about. But this place is immaculate.
It's unbelievable. And Dr. Darren White, who is a frequent visitor on our radio program, he's going to join us coming up at 10:15. He's the director of Sanford Sports Industry Program, and this is a national leading school when it comes to this in regards to the sports industry program.
Yeah, and if you listen to our show throughout the year, just some of the different nuggets, insights that he has in different ways that we can look at sports, especially when it comes to March Madness, the NCAA tournament, college football, all of that, but a lot of good work being done here in Homewood.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll talk to Dr. White coming up at 10:15. A little bit later this hour, we'll talk to a student who is in this program. He was just telling me a few moments ago just the amazing success rate that they have of placing graduates in jobs. And that's very important. And that's coming from a dad who just had his son graduate college in the spring. He was blessed and fortunate enough to get a job right out of his program. It is very important, especially for young people, to have that opportunity. So we'll talk to him about that and a student. Rodney Orr will join us next hour from Tuscaloosa, from Tider Insider. Rob Pate, former Auburn DB. Martin Newton, the athletics director here on this campus for Sanford University. He is now
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, the chairperson of the new NCAA men's basketball committee. He will join the program. Coach Chris Hatcher will be along in the 12 o'clock hour as well. So we've got a lot going on this morning in regards to what is happening. And, I mean, I hate to sound like a broken record, but I guess at this point you're just not watching Atlanta, right?
No.
Anymore.
No, I'm not at all.
Okay.
I'll catch a score. I'll check it on my phone. But, no, I'm not watching.
Okay. Spencer Strider last night, he allowed a career-high 11 hits, 5 runs, 4 2/3 innings in the loss. The Brewers sweep the series. Atlanta now has the 4th worst record in all of baseball.
Yeah.
That's just
might as well be
mind-numbing.
the worst, Pat.
Mind-numbing to
Worst
think
or
that's
worse.
the situation.
To me, as a big Braves fan, nope. And it's, you can call it fair weather, whatever. It's just not good for my mental health. It affects my mental health and my mood. And so I've chosen not to watch. I have that choice as an American.
There you go. The Braves are now 9 games behind the Marlins, who arrive in Atlanta on Friday. And it's a 5-game, 4-day series.
Try to knock the Marlins out of what? 3rd, 4th place in the division? 3rd place in the division? I guess because the Nationals are still technically behind the Braves.
You. Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to play spoiler with the Marlins.
Well, that's okay. If you watched SportsCenter last night, so you got the Cardinals, who took 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani pitched yesterday.
Yeah.
Of course, he pitched 4 innings. Lights out. He also hit a 2-run homer in the game. So all the highlights was his strikeouts and his home run. But, oh, yeah, by the way, the Dodgers lost.
Yeah.
But you didn't see any highlights.
That's not going to sell a whole lot of eyeballs.
No. So it was nothing about, the Dodgers losing and how they lost. It was just.
But he got his 1,000th career hit, Pat.
Yeah, that's fantastic. But they lost. But oh well.
Did they give him the baseball for his 1,000th career hit?
I don't know.
Is that getting sent back to his parents in Japan for the trophy case?
I don't know.
I think Ipe gets that one.
From prison?
From Cell Block D?
That's right, yeah.
That'd be a hot commodity in there.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
What you could trade with a autographed 1,000th hit Ohtani baseball.
Yeah. So the Auburn Tigers were on the practice field yesterday, and let's just say that Hugh Freeze was less than happy with the way the Auburn Tigers looked on the practice field, especially after they had an off day. Then they show up, talked about his low energy. So let's hear from Coach Hugh Freeze talking about that lack of energy for his Auburn Tigers at practice.
Had a really good day yesterday. Not as good today. Didn't think Yeah, well, yesterday was an off day. The day before that was really good. You would think we would have, a little more energy. I would hope. I told him just a while ago. I mean, if you're only excellent when people are watching, it's really not excellence. It's just performing. And I don't know. I didn't think we had. There were spurts of practice that were really good, and then others that I thought we just kind of got through. So we've got to improve that and make sure that man, every rep, every day must be stacked in order to win these competitive close games that we're going to be in. And just kind of, I may feel different when I watch the film, but we did take care of the ball. But thought in the third and short period, defense really, they had great energy there, and really two guys really flashed, and that's Atkins and Dees. They really flash, man. When they decide to hit a gap, it's in a hurry. Obviously, the front had to play well for that to free them up also, but. I don't know. I thought they really dominated that drill, and that's one where, again, you go back to some of the reasons we haven't had the success we've wanted. It's been some of those critical downs, like those 3rd and 1s, 3rd and 2s, and we've got to be excellent in those on offense and defense. Today, defense was really dang good in those. I think we had 8 reps of it, and we were probably 2 of 8, which is not going to be enough to win games. So we've got to go back and look at that. Obviously, we don't have everything in right now, but still, you've got to execute those and get those first downs. But also, it's really nice to see the defense not give those up.
It's one thing. I mean, it's just human nature. I mean, you're so fired up. You get to camp, that first week, and then all of a sudden it turns into week 2, and then maybe that excitement level, because then you got the heat.
Yeah.
You're not off that adrenaline and coming off those summer workouts, and you're ready to just get out there and, I don't know, just kind of start setting in. And it happens to every program, but you could tell that Coach Freeze was less than enthused with the effort.
Well, as long as it doesn't become a pattern in the lack of energy, you got to bring the energy. You would want it every single day, but you hear about this, and who knows as far as the overall however many minutes of practice and actual stuff that they got in, how much of that was lacking energy. But I think Hugh Freeze sending a message to his team here early in camp that's not acceptable, and you hope that gets corrected here if you're an Auburn fan.
Now, he did bring up a couple of defenders that he mentioned in his post-practice press conference. He said linebackers Xavier Atkins and Bryce Dees, that they really stood out at practice. So it wasn't all, gloom and doom in regards to the way the practice went. Now, he did bring up Jackson Arnold. If you remember back, we had a conversation about what Hugh Freeze said about Jackson Arnold just a couple of days ago, in which he was a little frustrated with him holding on the ball a little bit too much. This is what Hugh Freeze had to say about the presumed starting quarterback for the Auburn Tigers.
Really pleased. Met with him yesterday, and the quarterback coaches on again. It's sad but true, but I get to go in the rooms and only talk about the bad stuff, and that's just and I know they get it, but man, I get paid to try to fix the stuff we're not doing well, so that's usually the only time I have from go to room and say we have to get this fixed, and there's not a lot that he's a little greedy in the RPO game a bit. But I think we can get that corrected pretty simply, and I don't think he did that today. After yesterday's meeting, I don't remember a single one that he tried to force and make something happen. So I'm really pleased with his decision making. I think the ball is coming out quick, and I think he's using his legs when he doesn't feel comfortable with what he sees, and creating, again, everything's not team periods, but he's creating explosive plays when he does move out of the pocket. He's throwing really well on the run. So to this point, I'm really pleased with where he's at.
Based on people that I've talked to that have watched a good bit of Jackson Arnold at Auburn practicing, some of his best plays are the ones where he's moving. He's on his feet. But that's been a criticism of Auburn quarterbacks in the past, Pat, and most recently of guys that were bailing out. And some of that had to do with the lack of protection in the offensive line. But Jackson Arnold, he is certainly a weapon with the legs, as we saw last year, now just putting it all together and not being, as Coach Freeze said, too greedy.
What do you think that means? That means that he's trying too much with his legs, or he is pulling the ball out and he's trying to force the ball in?
I think it's forcing the ball in,
okay.
Not taking what's given to you. Sometimes just the easier high percentage stuff and waiting for that moment where it's going to be a much lower percentage, but the reward would be much higher as opposed to maybe what some people would consider a check down. Yeah. That's my viewpoint of it.
Freeze went on to say that he feels that the offensive line is set. He says he feels like there's 6 guys that are pretty much set in regards to that's going to be your rotation from your offensive line. So he feels really good about that group. Also, in Tuscaloosa yesterday, Alabama on the practice field. The most interesting story that is developing here, and I really don't have any other detailed information. We'll talk to Rodney Orr next hour to see if there's anything with this. But Jaden Roberts, outstanding offensive lineman, he continues to work with the twos. Now, is this a case of him working with the twos so that you can give a couple other guys like Vandermark and some others on that offensive line an opportunity to get reps? Like you pretty much know what you have with Jaden Roberts, so you're allowing him the opportunity to work with a different group, but you're letting some others to be in that rotation? Not really sure. We'll ask Rodney Orr coming up because Cam Dewberry and Vandermark, those 2 guys are getting a lot more work with the ones.
Is this an attention getter, though?
I don't know. I mean, that's what we'll ask Rodney coming up next hour in regards to what's happening with that.
I can also say real quick, I can tell you, I know that Vandermark, at least, he has also been getting work at center because they've had some stuff with Brailsford where he had something going on. He had to miss a couple of days. And so Vandermark has
graduated.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah. And so Vandermark's been getting some work there, and they've been shuffling some guys around from a depth perspective.
Yeah.
I hate to hear my cousin running second team.
Jaden Roberts?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he'll be all right.
He's fine. He comes from good stock.
He does. Latsir Brooks continues to be held out of action. He was in a black no-contact jersey yesterday, but he was not wearing the protective boot that he was seen earlier in the week. Meanwhile, Deshaun Jones continues to lead the Husky group with Dre Kirkpatrick Jr. second up. Cam Calhoun, who cross-trained at that position in a previous practice, was back at cornerback for Alabama. With our defensive coordinator, Kane Womack, he met with the media. He talks about what he wants to see more out of his defense.
That was one thing that, if you point to some of the areas that we had to improve upon from last year, being able to create negative plays in the backfield, being able to affect the quarterback, certainly from a standpoint of creating more sacks defensively. It was something that we needed to look at. So fundamentally, we tweaked some things, and schematically, just created some more variance in some of the things that we're doing in passing downs. I think we're in a good spot right now. I think, that's an ever-flowing, okay, what does this team do this week? How elusive is their quarterback? How do we want to contain him and also, force pressure and those things? And so, week to week, those things are going to change. But if you build a catalog of defense in the offseason, those are things you can kind of go to week to create variance in what you're doing.
That was Kane Womack discussing what he wants to see more out of his defense, which is more sacks. One other interesting comment he had, he was talking about the defense being full of freaks, and you need that, no matter what defensive unit in college football. Take a listen to what Kane Womack had to say about the team of freaks and who is the freakiest.
I think Quay is on a team full of freaky people, Quay is the freakiest. You know what I mean? He is freaky athletic, and I think he's a special talent in terms of his strength. You watch him at the point of attack. When we started talking about violent hands, which is one of our Bama fundamentals that we continue to stress and harp on, Quay's ability to destroy blocks and get off and make plays. There was a play against Auburn. A guy came and, pulled against him. I mean, absolutely obliterated him at the point of attack. Those are things, right, that show up on tape in terms of his strength and physicality. But, ultimately, right, it's about knowing, what I like about Quay is like knowing when to and when not to, from a physical standpoint, be too aggressive. And I think he's learned a lot last year with the experience that he had. And I think he's what I would call, has turned himself into a controlled, aggressive player.
Controlled aggression. That's what you want.
Yeah, the freakiest of the freaks.
The freakiest of the freaks. Yes, you want a lot of freaks this day in college football, certainly. But just looking at his stats from last year, 14 tackles, had a couple of interceptions, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, but obviously a great opportunity to improve on those leaps and bounds in the 2025 season.
Well, as we know, the Alabama heat and humidity can be brutal, but don't let it affect your home and family. Keep them comfortable with an affordable Trane cooling system. They've been recognized as America's most trusted brand for 11 consecutive years, and they're the official cooling partner here at Jox. So go and find a comfort specialist near you at Trane.com.
We are live at Sanford University. It is football media days. A little bit later in the program, Chris Hatcher, the head football coach of Sanford, he will join the program. Also, the athletics director, Martin Newton, later on in the program. We'll go to Tuscaloosa to talk to Rodney Orr. But coming up next, the man that invented this school, not Sanford, but this particular program, the Sanford Sports Industry Program, Dr. Darren White, joins us next here on Three Man Front. It is 10:20. It's always a fun time when the show can come just over the hill from the radio station and be on the Sanford University campus, one of the prettiest campuses you're going to find anywhere in the country when it comes to higher education. And joining us now is Dr. Darren White. He is Executive Director of Sanford's Center for Sports Analytics. See, I got it right.
You got it right.
You guys have changed the name on me.
You did. Yes, you did great. Well done.
Well, listen, first off, thank you for hosting us again. And you are a frequent guest on the program talking about analytics and all the fun stuff that goes on during a football or a college basketball season. But this program continues to just blow us away. And again, we're only over here like once a year because you only invite us once a year. We'd be over here every week if you invite us. But Dr. White, just for those that may not know what Samford does in this area of sports analytics, kind of give everyone kind of a 411.
Yeah, we were the first school in the country to have a Center for Sports Analytics. We launched our program here in the business school back in 2011. So we've been doing it now for almost 14 years, which is hard to believe. We've placed students all over the world of sports. Most recently, we had a young lady that graduated and went to the Braves, and she's doing analytics of the Braves, which they need some help, obviously, right? But all over, really. We're starting to put more and more kids, interestingly, into college sports because college sports programs are really changing in terms of their needs, in terms of who works there. So we've had University of Arkansas, University of Florida. We had an SEC placement recently. So yeah, we love what we do. It's a lot of fun. We bring in kids. We have 60 kids coming in about 3 weeks that'll be in the freshman class. They hail from 24 different states. I got one coming from Idaho, my first ever Idaho student. And so it's a lot of fun getting to work with them for 4 or 5 years, and then helping them kind of realize their dream of working in sports.
Speaking of dreams, when you came to Samford, did you ever dream that it would grow to this level?
No way. I had no. Again, my background, I coached college soccer for 10 years. Grew up here in Birmingham. Coached college soccer.
I know I told you this last year. But you totally look like a college soccer coach.
Oh well. Okay, well, good. I'm glad I do.
That's a compliment.
Okay, well, I'm glad. Wasn't sure about that.
Yeah.
So that's my background, and but I sort of discovered sports analytics and the business side of sports through my own college team. And when the day came to step away from college coaching and the opportunity came to move back to Birmingham, back home, where my wife and I are from. My wife's a Homewood grad. I'm a Vestavia High School grad. We both went to BSC. May BSC rest in peace. But as we came back to home and we had the opportunity to launch this program, and again, we were the first business school in the South to do it. And when we started, we had 10 students per class. In fact, I remember when I sat down to write down on a piece of paper everybody I knew who worked in sports who might be able to hire one of my kids, and the sheet of paper was blank. And so I said, you know what? I need to go over and talk to Martin Newton. And so I did and pitched the idea to Martin, and Martin was a huge part of launching this. He really helped introduce us to a lot of the first people that we started to get to know, like Scott Myers down at the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame, for example. George Dennis, who works over at Barber now. And so some folks like that sort of surrounded us and helped us kind of get this going. And now, of course, our relationships are in the thousands. And so it's been a fun run.
You were telling me earlier, and what's so special about the sports industry program here at Sanford is the fact that you guys could splinter off like 4 or 5 different areas. Can you just touch on those for those potential students or those that might be interested at the high school level of one day being a part of this program? Because there are many options. It's just not a narrow focus just on one area.
Yeah, like one of my favorite sayings is there's 1,000 ways to work in sports. And there really is. There are so many ways. And so that's sort of how we built our program to be super flexible. It's in the business school for a reason, right? You're actually majoring in business and getting a broad-based business degree, and then you figure out during your 4 or 5 years what area of sports you want to work in. And so just to give you an idea, if you Google front office of the Atlanta Hawks and just look at all the job titles, right? Or go to a website. There's a website called workinsports.com, for example, and just look at all the job openings, and you're going to see every kind of position, from accounting to finance to analytics to marketing, you name it. And so our program is built so that you can come in and ultimately find your path and create your path to success. And so which is why our placements are, we place students all over the country, and we place them in all kinds of different jobs. And so, yeah.
Is there a high demand? I'm guessing there is for to be able to access not only Sanford University, and I know that it's a tough school to get into, but as far as this program, is there a waiting list? Is there a high demand among students?
Yeah, we typically run about a 30 to 40% acceptance rate into the program. They apply during their senior year in high school, and then the application. In fact, the application for next year's freshman class just opened, actually August 1st, and so they have till November 1st to get that completed. And then we have a selection process we go through, and we make offers. And again, we've just expanded. We actually have historically we've only had 30 spots per year, but we actually just launched a new program. I was telling Pat about it. We have a program, we're calling it our Fast Track in Sports Business. Brand new. It's a 5-year program where students can come in and do an undergrad degree and an MBA.
That's amazing.
Both degrees in 5 years, and it's a broad-based sport degree, so that when you graduate again, you got that MBA. And
it sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, yeah, it is a lot of work. You're right. So, but what that allowed us to do is open up. We've gone from 30 freshmen now to 60 freshmen because of that new offering that we've got out there. So,
what's also really cool is you guys are reaching out to the high school level. Kind of talk about what you did over the summer and the kind of the camps that you guys are having here for high school students.
Yeah. So we love working with the high schools. I mean, we work locally. We're going to be doing some really neat stuff this coming year with John Carroll. We're going to be working with Homewood flag football, and so we love investing back in the community. We did some we were a huge part of the World Fire and Police Games, for example. So we are all about Birmingham and investing in Birmingham. And so one of the things that we decided to do this year for the first time is have a high school camp. And so it was a couple of weeks ago. We had 30 speakers come in, and we had everybody from the former GM of the Chicago Bears to one of the top player salary cap experts in the NFL. Mm-hmm. We had one of the top NFL agents, a guy named Eugene Lee, came in. A lot of local people as well. We had like our AD, Martin Newton, spoke. We had our basketball coach. They got to meet. We went down to Rickwood. We went out and talked to John Cook at the Barons. And so it was a really, really fun week. And it was awesome because these high school students this was the first time many of them. In fact, I even had one tell me at the end. He said, "You know, when I was coming to this camp, I thought we were going to be playing sports all week." And he's like, "But this is even better. This is awesome because we were opening their eyes to all the possibilities of the ways you can work in sports." And it was a lot of fun, a lot of fun. So we're going to repeat it again next year. We're going to be doing it starting on July 18th through the 24th of 2026. If you're interested, just Google Sanford Sports Business Camp.
Okay.
Sanford Sports Business Camp, and that should get you to our website, and you can read more about it. So,
is the movie Moneyball a part of the curriculum?
100%. In fact, we have a Moneyball program, and so we have students of the 60 freshmen, for example, that are coming in. About 15 of those want to be the next Billy Bean. Like that's what they want to be. And again, I'll tell you a story on that one. We had a young lady 4 years ago that showed up. Her name's Sydney Hernandez. She showed up and she said, "Dr. White, I want to be Billy Bean. I want to be Billy Bean for either the Cubs or the Braves." And I'm like, "Well, Sydney, that's really specific. I don't know if we're going to pull that off or not, but we'll try." So anyway, yeah. So we have in fact, you guys are looking at a brochure right now. She's right there on the front of it.
Yep.
Sydney worked for 4 years with our baseball team, did analytics with our baseball team. I think our coach cried when she graduated because she was such a big part of his team. During her time, though, she did actually get to intern with the Cubs, which was really cool. And then about 6 months ago, the Braves had an opening. And so she applied. She was one of 850 people that applied for the job. Long story short, guess where she's working now? She's working with the Atlanta Braves. There you go. So see, that's what we do. We basically help make dreams come true, be it in sports analytics, be it in sports finance, whatever it may be.
Do you still talk to Sydney on a regular basis?
Oh yeah.
Because I'm going to put a bug in your ear to put a bug in her ear.
Okay, yeah. I can. Whatever you tell me what you need, and I'll get it. I'll get the information to her. So yeah, there you go.
Well, listen, it is one of the highlights for us every time that you make an offer and say, "Hey, feel free to come hang out." And you know, we were in your office, which was outstanding last year. Now you've put us in one of the labs here. Mm-hmm. And then what you guys have got going on right behind us, being constructed, is going to blow everybody's mind. I mean, this is a fantastic facility to begin with, but
we don't get to feel fancy very often, but we feel fancy today.
Yeah, and we're really going to feel fancy next year. Dr. White's already invited us back for next year.
Yeah, we're building right now, and again, I'm just so thankful for we have some incredibly generous donors. We have the support of the university. the administration, but we are building right now a space within the business school that's being designed by a company called Advent, which is they design the Cowboys corporate headquarters
in Frisco.
In Frisco, they did the PGA corporate headquarters. I mean, they do some incredible work. So they're helping us design this space for our students in the sports program. So it'll be a place for them to hang out. It's kind of if you've seen some of the pictures of those incredible locker rooms, for example, it's going to have a kind of a very sporty kind of feel to it. So that'll be opening probably around Christmas, if I were to guess. And so so we're really excited about that. That's currently being constructed as we speak. And yeah, I mean, there's just lots going on. So if anybody's out there and they're interested in sports or sports business, you're a high school student, you're an undergrad, or even an MBA. I mean, again, we have an MBA program too, so you could come do your MBA here in sports business. We would love to talk and see how we might be able to help. So
well, it is always a great time. That is Dr. Darren White. He's the executive director of Sanford Center for Sports Analytics.
Yep.
So now you've changed the name, Sports Industry Program. Sorry, see, I screwed up.
That's okay.
I screwed up.
Good. You're good.
Sports
You're good.
Industry Program.
There you go. All right. Well, good stuff. Thank you again for coming, and you're going to be hearing from one of my students in a little while.
Absolutely. Looking forward to speaking with her about how bad of an instructor you are.
Yeah, I know. I hope. Please. We'll see what she said. I don't know what she's going to say. I have no idea.
All right.
But we'll find out.
All right. More from Sanford. This is Three-Man Front on Jox. What a great conversation with Dr. Darren White here at Sanford University. We'll talk to a student, a current student, coming up in just a moment from Tuscaloosa, who is a part of this program, and I understand she's a very sharp individual. So we'll talk to her coming up in just a couple of minutes. You know, school's back in session, and it's time to roll into a new season in style with Courtesy GMC. Right now, get up to $14,000 off all new GMC Sierra 1500s. Save $5,000 on every Yukon XL, and the all-new Acadia. How about $10,000 off the powerful 2025 Sierra HDs? Plus, every new GMC comes with a 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. That's peace of mind that lasts. Hurry to Courtesy GMC, where they've got you covered on the lowest prices in the Southeast. Go by and see them off of I-459 exit 32 in Trussville. This program is, if you're a sports geek, and especially with everything now going towards the analytics side of sports, and they're now taking 60 students, where I think last year we were here, they were taking about 25, 30, something like that. It's almost doubled. And the amount of applications that they get for this program, it's through the roof. And it's a very selective group if you get chosen to be a part of it.
Yeah, and we're being kind of broad because there's so many different areas, as Dr. White described, that you can go into once you get into this program here at Sanford. But I would love Pat just to sit in and just listen to some of the classes and some of the things that they just the things that he brings up on the show that they put into the classroom, and whether it's a summer project, but really neat stuff. And if you like sports, just any sport, this is your area. But again, it's only a select group of people. But you see the placement and why the placement's so high and how it's revered across the country.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. So we will talk to Addie Crawford in just a couple of minutes. So she's a student from Tuscaloosa who is majoring in sports analytics, and she's been interning with a company that does analytics for major college basketball programs. So that is a fascinating angle. I got a feeling that if this program was offered for me at UAB back when I was a student coming out of high school, I probably would have gravitated to that as opposed to going and maybe broadcasting, just because of the way I love this type of information and stuff.
Yeah. I'm almost glad that it wasn't offered, because that would have made it really, really difficult
for you to decide what you wanted to do.
For me to decide. But, no, this is super impressive, and we learn stuff about every 10 minutes when we're here in the building. Dr. White does a great job. I'm excited to talk to this young person in Addie Crawford from Tuscaloosa about what her vision is, because he said right now she could be kind of on the fence of that career pursuit and where she wants to go.
Would you like to be a fly on the wall of this recent graduate from Samford that is now working for the Atlanta Braves?
He thought I was kidding. I wasn't
I know
kidding.
You weren't
You
kidding.
knew I wasn't kidding.
Not at all. So, hey, can I get her email address?
Yeah.
I need to send her some ideas.
Hey, Alex, listen to her.
Look, whatever you're doing, Alex, you need to pay attention to your
Stop doing
people.
it and listen to her.
Yeah. So it'll be great to talk to her coming up in just a couple minutes. But it is Sanford Football Media Days. We will have Coach Chris Hatcher. He will be over here in just a couple minutes. I want to point everybody to our poll question today. It has to do with the schedule, the college football schedule. As we remember, Oregon's Dan Lanning, he is advocating for an earlier start to the college football season. He wants week 0 to be the start of everyone's college football season. This would allow for a more streamlined schedule, including a national championship game on January 1st, and get rid of all that month long of waiting around for the playoffs. Let's get right to it. So we just asked the audience today, when should the college football season start? You got 2 possible answers. Week 0, which is around August the 23rd, or as is, which is Labor Day weekend. And the majority of you, as of this moment, 54% of our audience, Landrum, says they want the season to start earlier. And that does not surprise me, knowing how we get to this time of the year and you're ready for it to start.
I haven't voted, but I'm all about starting it. If we're going to start a week earlier, let's go ahead and do it. We can adjust the other schedules. The teams up north, they probably appreciate it. You got one more week of warmer weather.
Yeah.
In most cases. So
now the Big Ten wouldn't like that, because they want everybody to come to snowy stadiums and play in the junk.
Yeah, for the most part they do. But they have other member institutions they have to think about now, Pat.
Yeah, West Coast teams.
You got to think about those West Coast teams.
That's right. There's no question.
Now,
So,
bring on the season earlier.
Yeah.
I was just perusing. Now I've kind of got the itch a little bit. I know NFL preseason football, we
Starts tonight.
kind of laugh at it, but we got 3 games tonight, and you know what? I'm going to watch one of those games.
And you're probably going to wager on them.
No, I'm going to wager vicariously through you.
Oh, okay.
As you wager on one of them.
I will not. No, I will
No?
not.
I had a lock for you.
I do not. I do not do that. I'm going to sound like Brian Edwards for a second. I do not do preseason baseball, preseason basketball, or preseason NFL games. Won't do it.
WNBA.
No.
No.
Never have. Ever.
I don't know, man.
Now, there's some very interesting prop bets that I've seen over the last couple days in regards to the WNBA.
Oh, goodness.
Of what potentially could be thrown on a court.
Mm-mm.
Because now we're up to, what, 3 instances? Is that right?
It's a trend now.
Yeah, apparently so.
More are on the way, Pat.
Oh, okay. So I should take the over.
So from what I understand, and this is because some people were doing some investigative journalism last night, it appears that there is an online group of people who have coordinated these instances around
Wow.
the WNBA. So
Okay.
there are multiple people involved in this trying to make an appearance at multiple different venues.
Guys, you know who I blame? Tennessee students. They got all of this started when they started throwing mustard bottles and golf balls
Gave
and
people ideas.
whatever else on the field versus Ole Miss a couple of years ago.
It was the gateway.
It was the gateway.
Yeah, exactly.
You imagine if Lane Kiffin got hit with one of those?
Oh, boy. There's a million jokes there, and I'm going to let it.
I'd set it up for you.
I know, I'm going to let it go. We're at a wonderful
I know.
religious institution.
I know.
And I am taking the high road.
I just want to know why green, personally.
Okay.
Um,
All right. Well,
geniuses pick green. That's what they said. Meet the parents.
yes. Hey, are you tired of worrying about your roof, whether it's your family home or a commercial building? Abide Roofing delivers tailored solutions for every need. At Abide, it's about more than just a new roof. It's about a team of highly skilled pros who bring their A game to every job, and I am witness to that because Travis Lloyd and his outstanding local roofing team, they helped me out. Man, they work with precision and pride, using only the best materials to guarantee durability, lasting value. Over 25 years of trusted experience, they have the expertise to get the job done the first time. Your journey with Abide Roofing, it starts with a free consultation, so call them today, 205-941-6223. That's 941-6223. Or visit abideroof.com. Abide Roofing, quality, precision, and customer satisfaction every single time. So let Abide Roofing take care of you.
We continue here from Sanford University. We're going to have special guests going to be dropping by. Coach Hatcher's going to be dropping by later, update us on summer/fall camp for the Sanford Bulldog football team. That and much more. Also, Rodney Orr at the top of the hour, giving us an update from Tuscaloosa. It's three-man front here on a beautiful Thursday in the South on Jox.
It is 10:47. Welcome back in. This is Three Man Front on Jox. We're live from Sanford's Sports Industry Program here in Homewood, and we're so happy to be joined now by Addie Crawford. She is in the sports analytics side of things here at the Sports Industry Program at Sanford. Addie, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, so we got to ask you, a young woman from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, decides to come up the road to Birmingham and Samford University Sports Industry Program. What got you here?
Wow. Okay, so I think it was my junior year of high school. I heard about this company called HD Intelligence, and I thought, wow, like that's really cool that they're using statistics to improve like sports and the game, and just really got into that internship. And by senior year, that's just what I wanted to do. So I started looking at schools that would help me with all of that, and Sanford was the perfect fit because they had that concentration ready for me.
Did you know growing up that this was going to be around the arena at least that you wanted to be in?
No, I didn't. Not until that internship.
So the internship kind of got the juices going in regards to what you potentially wanted to do long term.
Right. That's correct.
That is awesome. For those that do not know about HD Intelligence, if I'm not mistaken, and Dr. White was just talking about it, they do analytics for close to 100 major college basketball programs, including Alabama and Samford.
Yep, that's right. And they actually just worked with the past 3 men's basketball champions.
Unbelievable. That is fantastic. Oh, yeah, so you got the UConn twice and then and the Florida Gators.
Yes, sir.
That is incredible.
Do you guys get rings?
No.
You should.
I wish.
Right?
Well, that's okay. Landrum and I, we're still owed a ring by the Barons, but we
won't bring that up.
Yeah, we won't get into that.
Man.
It's a sore subject. All right, so let's. You got to give us some dirt on Dr. White.
Oh, man.
Is he as good as he seems?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. He is so passionate about the sports program here. And, I mean, he was a long-term soccer coach, and he still acts like it. And that's honestly the best thing you can hope for in a sports professor.
What have you learned about analytics through your time here at Sanford, through HD Intelligence, maybe that our listeners or even ourselves would not know? What can we know about analytics and the role that they play? I mean, we have kind of a rough idea, but the role that they play, especially when it comes to men's college basketball.
Yeah. So something that I learned when I came here is that analytics is basically in everything, and everything doesn't have to revolve around analytics, but it has the opportunity to. So basketball, you have your player performance stats that can be individual or as a team, or you can do scheduling analytics and see, like, especially in basketball, you have your different quads and just scheduling, like, who you want to play non-conference, when do you want to play your conference teams. That plays a very big role. And when I started my internship, I really didn't understand any of that. I didn't really watch college basketball. But then I got really into it, and I was like, okay, yeah, I see what we're doing. I see why the numbers are chugging, and yeah, so.
All right, so you were telling us off the air, and what's so great about this program is that it can spoke off into a million different areas in the sports industry. And I know one area that you were telling me in Landrum during the commercial break that you potentially, down the road, might be as a sports agent.
Yeah. So I came into this program with the aspirations of being a sports analyst for MLB or college basketball. I was like, that is the dream. And then after the camp that we just finished up, I started looking at sports agency because I didn't want to go to law school. I was very scared of law school. And then someone at the camp told me, well, you don't have to go to law school to be an agent. And I was like, okay, I like that. So I started looking at the agency side, and I think what's so awesome about Sanford is that when you come in for your sports analytics program, they'll give you 2 concentrations. So that's sports marketing and that's data analytics. And you can go the data analytics route and go do the analytics, but you also have sports marketing as your backup. And you also have a major. So my major is finance. So I can go use that for a front office job, or I can use that on the agency side and look at contracts. And
so you got it covered.
Yes.
What about the agency side really appeals to you?
the player relationships and it being people oriented. I love that.
And you mentioned the fact that when you first got into the program, you thought, okay, hey, look, I'd love to potentially, be in an MLB front office or an NBA, or now, heck, now with college basketball, you got to have a general manager because of the way that they're having to procure talent,
Right.
out of the transfer portal
Right.
and things of that nature. So I guess as the industry has changes in the landscape, I guess you got to keep all your options open too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're joined by Addie Crawford from Tuscaloosa. She's a sports analytics major, or you're a finance major,
Yes.
but sports analytics, you're here in the sports industry program. In regards to working with HD Intelligence, just the time that you have been with them over the last couple of years as an intern, have you just seen just how much the industry has changed in that very short, limited amount of time that you've been there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was 2 years ago the transfer portal got really big in college sports, and we were having to scramble a little bit with getting ready for transfer portals and evaluating players and getting ready for that, and that became a big thing, a big off-season project
Right.
of how are we going to handle this. And yeah, it's definitely taken over college basketball.
I'm looking at the website here for HD Intelligence.
Yeah.
So the schedule optimization, maximize your team's chances of reaching and advancing the NCAA tournament with a data-driven approach to non-conference scheduling. You're
That's a
from
mouthful.
Alabama. Do I say data or data?
I say both.
Okay.
It depends on what part of the country
Just
you're
making
having a conversation with. Yeah, no doubt. Well, in regards to this program, and I know you're sophomore, correct?
Yes, sir.
You're about to start your sophomore year. So this program, just in the remaining minutes, just tell us about just what impresses you the most, and as your classmates, how it sets you up for success.
Yeah, so just being honest, I've only taken 2 pre-business courses, and that is macroeconomics and computer science. So I haven't touched any sports classes.
Okay.
I haven't touched any analytics classes. But what I have done is I've volunteered at all these sporting events that's come to Birmingham. So this spring I volunteered at the SEC Gymnastics Championship. I volunteered at the SEC baseball tournament in Hoover, and just having that real life experience of like, oh, I'm here, like I'm actively working with the numbers, and
Right.
I'm working with the athletes, and I'm working with the management. Like that is something you get to do before you even take those classes, and I think that's awesome.
Well, listen, you're an impressive young woman,
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
and we're expecting big things.
That's right.
From
You remember the little people. When
Yeah,
you
just
get to the
remember
top,
us when
right?
you became a big NFL agent.
Yeah.
Just
Yes,
remember
sir.
us.
And don't worry, I will be calling, hitting you up for tickets.
Okay,
and
I got
swag.
you. I got you.
All right, that is
Not ashamed.
Addie Crawford from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. She's a Sanford student. She's a finance major, but she's also part of the Sanford Sports Industry Program. Addie,
Good
thanks,
luck.
Thanks
God
for
bless.
coming.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
y'all.
good luck. Appreciate
Thanks.
that very much. Hour number 1 in the books. When we come back, we're live at Sanford University. This is Three Man Front on Jox. It is 11 o'clock. Welcome back in. This is Three Man Front. We are live at Samford University, Sanford Football Media Days. We'll talk to Chris Hatcher, the head football coach of the Sanford Bulldogs, starting his 11th season. Man, how time has flown by since he has come on board here at Sanford. He will join us coming up later on in the program. We are coming to you live from Sanford's Sports Industry Program. We've already talked to Dr. Darian White. He's the executive director of this program. Also, you just heard from Addie Crawford from Tuscaloosa. She is a student here in the Sports Industry Program. But joining us, as he does each and every Thursday on this program, talk a little Alabama football, is Rodney Orr from Tider Insider, joins us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Rodney, I hope you're doing well on this Thursday.
Doing great, guys. How about the both of you?
We are doing very well. I wanted to start, first off, with Jaden Roberts. I've been getting a lot of text messages from folks wanting to know what is going on, as he is currently working with the second-team offensive line. Is this a storyline that we should be paying more close attention to, or is just this something about reps and trying to get Vandermark and maybe Dewberry a few more snaps?
No, I think it's a combination, really. I mean, I think, first of all, this is a time when they do rotate a lot of those guys in there. It's going to be, when you look at it, you want to have Vandermark ready, whether it's at right guard, left guard, center. He's kind of that swing guy, but also gives him an opportunity to compete for that job. And I think, Jaden Roberts is going into his third year as a starter, but I still think consistency in performance, carrying out your assignments, on a consistent basis is really crucial. And I think that Vandermark certainly brings that. And I think, Jaden has kind of, I think he continues to improve in that area, but I think that's something that he needs to continue to kind of work on.
Rodney, depth is an issue on every college football roster these days, but at Alabama specifically, the offensive line group you were just talking about, how much concern is there about quality depth behind those starting five?
If you just listen to the vibes, I think they feel good about, obviously whether it's Vandermark at right guard or Jaden Roberts, that would give you six guys. I mean, you got Proctor, obviously, at left tackle, probably Dewberry at left guard, Brailsford at center, of course, and then the right guard we mentioned, then Wilkin Formby at right tackle. But Olasa Lennon is a guy that's come in and brought them some versatility in the spring with his progress, whether it's at tackle or guard. Had played both tackle spots. And then the two true freshmen, Michael Carroll at right tackle, and then also Jackson Lloyd at left tackle. So I think you're looking at them developing that depth. And the vibes that you kind of get when you listen like to Grubb the other day, they seem to be really pleased with the progress of all of those guys that are kind of considered backups right now.
Rodney Orr joins us on the Higginbotham Hotline. He is from Tider Insider talking about Alabama fall camp. So give us your feelings or the people that you talk to close around that football team in regards to Ty Simpson. I know that it has not been officially named as the starter. We all presume that he will be the starting quarterback. But what are you hearing behind Ty Simpson in regards to maybe that quality competition at number 2?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, everything I've heard about Ty so far through day 6 yesterday has been really positive, that he's had a really good camp, that he's kind of taken the bull by the horns and shown a lot of leadership. He's been consistent. He's had some really outstanding performances, I think, in the stuff they've done so far. So I think they feel confident with his progress. And then also Austin Mack and Keelan Russell. I think it's just consistency for both of them, whether it's accuracy with the ball, making decisions, whatever that is. I think that's just the areas that they need to continue to work on. And I think they feel like they've both made a lot of progress. Obviously, I think they're excited about both of those guys. But, right now, Ty Simpson is, his maturity is shining through.
Rodney, if you can hold on 1 second, we're going to try to reconnect with Rodney Orr. As you can tell, Rodney's cell's coming in and out, so he's having some very interesting comments about Alabama fall camp, including what he just said about the quarterback situation. I mentioned the fact that Jaden Roberts, he continues to work with the second-team offensive line. It is a surprising development for some to see a guy that has been there as long as he has and been a starter now working with the two.
Well, and from folks you talk to that put out these lists, whether it's PFF, and I don't know if it was them specifically, but some people view this Alabama offensive line as the best, not only in the SEC, but certainly one of the top in the country. And if you got a question mark, I just wonder what's the motivation? Is it just trying to light a spark under a veteran guy like Jaden Roberts?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. That very well might be the situation. Or you're just trying to get Geno Vandermark and Cam Dewberry a few more snaps. That's what I've been told. Don't read a lot into it as of yet. But it's more of trying to make sure that Vandermark is kind of cross-trained. And so Rodney Orr joins us back here. And you're wrapping up your comments about the quarterback situation and in regards to what Austin Mack and Keelan Russell right now, just what you're hearing from those two individuals.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, both those guys continue to progress. But I think one thing is just consistency in performance, whether it's accuracy, decision-making, all of those things. I think they're continuing to improve upon. And like I said right before we went out, I think Ty right now, just his maturity and his growth is really shining through.
We heard Ryan Grubb talking about Jam Miller and his comments about the Alabama running back. As far as divvies, reps, carries, rotation, what should that look like in your eyes this season?
Well, that's going to be really interesting to watch, and I think it's still something that's in the process of developing. Jam is again, it sounds like when you listen to Ryan Grubb, he's really pleased with the progress that Jam's made and continues to make it. But I think behind him, Richard Young, Daniel Hill, those are the two guys most likely. Well, now let me say this too. Dre Washington, the transfer from Louisiana, has been a guy that's been making some waves here. And I kind of thought back in the spring we would hear more about Dre. But I think as he's become more comfortable, he's learned more about the offense, kind of grown a comfort level with the offense. He's starting to make some waves as well. So we'll see. But, again, I think right now Jam clearly the guy with Richard Young and Daniel Hill and potentially Dre Washington battling for some carries.
All right, let's talk about the defense, Rodney. Early days of camp. How about the interior defensive line? What are you hearing on that front? I know Womack mentioned them yesterday, but do you like what you hear so far about how that group is developing?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I think obviously having Keenan back and he's a big leader. I think he's the blue collar leader of this whole group. I mean, he's the inspiration. And I think, obviously, James Smith, that's a guy that I think watch out for James Smith. I know Blue mentioned him the other day in his comments, but we've been hearing about him all summer. The buzz is he's had a great summer. He's got a chance to be dominant. I think he has that kind of potential. So we'll see there. But some of the younger guys, Jeremiah Beeman, from right there in Birmingham, he's a guy that's made tremendous strides. I mean, he's gone from like 260 pounds when he signed to where he is now, 315. Looks really good. He's worked extremely hard. Some of the other guys, Edric Hill is another guy on the interior that's made a lot of progress. So they're going to need these young guys because you've got to have depth on the interior and across the defensive front. It's going to be really important for those guys to step up.
Fall camp number 2, Rodney, for Kalen DeBoer and that staff. We know, just based on reports from the media, that music is still being played during practice. Anything else that might have changed from year 1 to year 2?
That's a good question. I mean, we've had a lot of more viewing opportunities in camp, and I haven't even noticed the music that much, but maybe I'm just getting used to it. But
how about the ice cream? Are you getting ice cream after practice?
No, I haven't heard any ice cream reports at all. So
okay.
I don't want to get everybody worked up. That's
not yet.
Created a little bit last year, but
you beat Vanderbilt, you get ice cream.
Yes, absolutely, with sprinkles.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I just think it's just the familiarity with it all. I mean, I think the players, the coaches, having a year's experience under the belt, and everyone's kind of seems more familiar with each other, and I think it's gone real smoothly. But I haven't seen anything significant when I just watch the practices that are different.
Okay, so we have a very small sample size, but you've been around this program for a very long time. Is there anything that's making you feel more positive about this football team that's developed over the first 10 days? Or is there something that has made you feel maybe, my prediction about how they're going to play this year might be in the other direction? Either or.
Yeah, no, I'll be honest with you. I'm cautiously optimistic. That's the way I look at it. But I kind of think that just the vibes that I get. Again, I like to be careful, but there's a lot of confidence over there right now. I mean, they seem to think that they have a chance to be a really, really good football team. And I'll say this, when you look at them in the media viewing periods, when we have the opportunity, and you sense the vibes out there on the field, kind of the energy amongst each of the position groups, but you look at them physically, you can see the work they've put in. I have to say, David Ballou and his staff have done an exceptional job preparing them for the season. This looks like a team that's in tip-top shape to me. Now, how does that translate on the field? Who knows? I mean, only time will tell. But I'll say this: the groundwork has been laid, and they look really good. They look really good on the hoof.
So I assume that the vibes that you're feeling this year is a tad different than what they were last year at this time.
Just didn't know what to expect exactly last year, but I'll say this: yes, it does seem like that. I don't know, more in sync, the chemistry. I'm not really sure I can put a finger on it, but it does seem like a more positive tone that I get this year.
We're just making sure specifically that you don't feel like they're under 9.5 wins for the season.
Well, I hope not. I think that obviously this is a really big year because they didn't make the playoffs last year, and that's the expectation this year. And you look at them, and there are question marks. I mean, obviously you're going to be starting with an inexperienced quarterback on the road. I think that's always something that you have to consider a question mark. So, and we don't know how Ty Simpson's going to respond, in those situations when the bullets are flying. But I'll tell you, like I said earlier, everything that I've heard about him right now is he's had a really, really good camp.
In regards to recruiting, Rodney, we're past that magical August 1st date that some schools around the Southeastern Conference was pointing to try to increase their potential standing in the recruiting rankings, because that's when schools could offer NIL deals officially, and they could be agreed upon by the students. Has there been any change or any areas on the Alabama recruiting front in regards to the verbal commitments right now? Are there any concerns from what you're hearing that any of those players may be wavering? And I know the caveat, this is August, a lot can happen before signing day.
Sure. No, I haven't heard anything like that right now to this point. Now, again, the focus has been so much on fall camp. Maybe I've missed something, but I haven't heard that. I mean, I think they feel really confident with the guys that they have. And, I will say this, and I'm jumping out here a little bit as you mentioned that. I still think it might be interesting to see how this Tank Jones thing plays out over the long haul.
Now, hold on a second. No, you've got to pique our interest. Now, this is the individual that supposedly, this is not Rodney's words. These are my words. I was told that it was getting north of potentially $1 million to verbally commit to Oregon. So this might be an individual that might be back in play before signing day. Is that what you're kind of hinting about?
Well, I mean, I think it's certainly possible. I mean, you mentioned things that could change over the long haul. And, again, I still think that there's some allegiances there to Alabama in his family. And I think it's never over till it's over, right? So I'm not going to totally write him off. I'm not predicting a flip, to be clear, at all. But I am saying that as we look forward down the line for Alabama, the rest of this recruiting class that seems to be basically put together now, I would still keep my eye on Tank Jones.
Rodney, not talking about Tank Jones. We're not talking about anybody at Alabama or any schools around here. What's the highest number, though, that you've heard for a kid coming out of high school?
This year?
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, so the Cantwell kid, Jackson Cantwell from Nixa, Missouri, the number one offensive tackle.
Yes.
I think Miami has promised him what, over $5 million?
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah. I forgot about that guy. Yeah. He better block a lot of people.
That's a lot of
That's
money.
a lot.
Like play all 5 positions. That's a ton of money.
That's like Corpus Christi, Texas high school money right there, Rodney.
There's a lot of old money down there.
Yes, there is. That is Rodney Orr. You can follow all of the fine work that he does there at TiderInsider.com. Well, the message boards, I'm sure they're fired up, ready to go about the fall season. As always, Rodney, we appreciate you joining us, and we'll talk to you next Thursday.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys. Take care.
Thank you. That is Rodney Orr joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Man,
I
like
how I totally gave him the parachute to bail out, and
oh no,
he just went right to the kid.
No,
Tank, baby, it's coming.
Oh,
I heard that the final number. Somebody in South Alabama told me that the number was around 1.25 million.
Yeah,
that's what Oregon supposedly was offering that young man.
Can we start a tank for tank hashtag?
I mean, I think Conrad might have upped his ante for Yay, Alabama. Maybe.
Well,
I'm upgrading to the max tier as we speak, Pat.
Do you take a reduced number if you have to stay here? If you got allegiances, that's fine, but also mitigating flight cost. I've never been to Eugene, Oregon. It sounds like it's a real pain to get to.
The grass is really green up there, though.
That's what I've heard. The guys at Delta House had a good time there.
Yeah, they did.
That's where they filmed it.
All of our guests join us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. Molly has returned. When we come back, we'll get a full report from
Where has
Molly.
she been?
She's been over at the Sanford Football Media Days. We'll hear from Molly on what's going on across the way on this beautiful campus. This is Three-Man Front on Jox. Welcome back to Three Man Front. We're live on Jox, live from Samford University. Their wonderful sports industry program hosting us today. Coach Chris Hatcher, the head football coach of the Sanford Bulldogs, he will be joining the program along with Sanford AD Martin Newton, who is now the chairman of the NCAA Men's Basketball Committee.
I can tell you about a product, a place that is supported by analytics, but also personal testimonies like mine. It's Mandu in downtown Homewood. It's electrical muscle stimulation fitness. You want to feel better, especially this football season when you're out tailgating, seeing a lot of family and friends. You can do it with Mandu. Their revolutionary approach, all FDA approved, puts you in a suit, hook you up to a machine, sends electric pulses to various muscle groups. Whatever you're trying to work, whether it's overall body, build up endurance, so you're training for something, or you just want to look and feel better, you can do it with Mandu. The best part about it, 15 minutes. It's a 15-minute workout because of that technology, equal to 6 hours in a gym. Mandu in downtown Homewood, your first visit is free, and they'll put you through that 15-minute workout. MANDUU.com. Call Paul and the gang. Go and see them there in downtown Homewood, and make sure you tell them Landrum from Jox sent you.
So Chris Hatcher is going to join the program live in just a little while. But, Molly, you were just across campus over at Football Media Days. What's the mood like for the Sanford football team in 2025?
Yeah, no, everyone seems like they're in a good mood. Chris Hatcher, he did say, this is a very young team. I believe he said there was one returning starter on offense, and I believe 2 or 3 on defense. So a lot of new faces, but he said, the past couple of weeks they've done a good job of getting everyone acclimated back into the system and whatnot. And one thing I love, the defensive line, they call themselves the Reapers because they like to suck the souls out of people.
Oh,
very
so
nice.
I thought that was a really fun tidbit.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, they said, they kind of have a chip on their shoulder because in terms of Samford and their success, they did not meet expectations last year because they went 4-7 last year. So expect to see a lot of a hard-hitting team this year.
Yeah, they had some close games that they were in, but just found themselves on the losing side of things. But I totally expect them to be back. Be interesting to see how transfer portal and NIL is affecting programs at the FCS level.
Yeah, that was one thing that he talked in great detail with us last year when we talked to him in preseason, just the changing landscape. And now that a whole year has happened, and we'll talk to Martin Newton about that as well coming up at noon, the athletics director, in regards to an FCS program having to deal with the world after the House settlement. Not only Coach Hatcher putting a roster together and going out and getting guys out of the transfer portal, but also the fact that an athletics director has to look at the monetary side of things, of how you're going to be able to raise funds to not only have programs in athletics, but obviously fund your basketball and football programs.
Yeah, I wonder, because of the pool and you have rosters that a lot of times they're going to go heavy transfer portal and kids from other programs as opposed to maybe taking the size class that you normally would out of high school. Has that helped programs like Sanford at the FCS level, maybe giving some of that talent that would go FBS in past years, but now going FCS? And it's a wild world. We look at it a lot of times just through the lens of the FBS and Division I, but programs like Sanford, especially in programs in the SoCon, they're affected by it as well.
So they only played 11 games last year because they had one game that was canceled. I believe it was because of the hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
And so that game was not made up. So they only finished with 11 games on their schedule. But if you look at their schedule this year, Landrum, it's some familiar names. You've got their last game of the year, their third game of the season is against Baylor.
Yep.
In Waco.
Saturday, 11 a.m. kick.
Yep. So we'll be nice and steamy that morning in Waco probably.
Yep.
And then they finished the season back in the state of Texas against the Aggies of Texas A&M. That's the final game of the year for Sanford. So 2 of those money games that we'll definitely talk to Coach Hatcher about. But Molly mentioned it. It was a disappointing season last year for Sanford, going 4-7. They did go 3-4 in the SoCon, but expecting with the fact that they do have a lot more guys coming back, I think, on the defensive side than the offensive side.
The Reapers, man.
The Reapers.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that.
That's a great name. So yeah, we'll talk to Chris Hatcher coming up in just a little while in the program. We'd love to hear from you. We've got a little bit of time in between guests today. 205-834-9450 on the Courtesy GMC text line.
That is right, Pat. Text line is open. Anything you want to respond to, best way to interact with us here on the show. And we read as many as we possibly can. As you see, I'm obviously stretching here, Pat, as the screen is loading.
Okay, well, while you're stretching.
The wheel of death. Here we go.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, good. Beautiful.
Jason, I guess I should stop all the hate speech on Tank Jones on Facebook about how we don't need him and how you've abandoned your family and your roots here in Alabama. Yeah, you might want to walk that back.
Was that Conrad that texted that in?
You know what? It is. It's Conrad posing as Jason. I'm looking at the number right here.
That's my name on Tider Insider.
First it was
everybody.
Molly. You missed it yesterday. We figured out Molly's got like 4 ghost accounts.
And they all voted for Nebraska.
One of them
yesterday.
is Frosty Flakes 22.
The other one's Rule the World 25.
Yep.
Did y'all talk about the Detroit losing to a bunch of minor league baseball players? Did y'all talk about that?
Oh, I need to send Molly the graphic I sent you last night, Pat.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about
So how do you lose? You got swept, right? You got swept by a team that is filled with double and triple A players. The Minnesota Twins swept.
I know. Well, that was
No, we won 1 game.
Oh.
Yeah, we had it here on the show. It's
1-1.
This season, Braves are kind of the mainstay, but all of our teams lost on Tuesday night.
I think I saw that we've lost 6 of our last 7 series. So, really fun. Good time to be a Tiger.
Hey, me and Pat were winners last night. Finally.
That's all that matters.
Yes.
Wesley chimed in. He said, Addie Crawford, in case you missed it, current student here at Sanford. She's here in the program and sports industry. Wesley says, Addie's a good friend of mine. This is awesome getting to hear her.
Oh, that's cool.
So proud.
Very impressed. Very impressive young woman. We expect, Landrum and I expect really big things from her, that we can call in some favors and get some tickets.
Okay, very interesting. We got a everybody's having fun with this WNBA thing.
Oh.
Yes, they are.
Man, that was probably not the best thing to say.
I'm concerned.
We're trying to keep it clean today, Molly, where we are.
Well, yeah.
Yep.
We'll be back in studio
Trying
tomorrow.
to keep it clean overall, but sometimes it's not as easy. Let's see. Dave and Hoover. Since we're leaning towards NFL Part 2, why not have a college football Hall of Fame game just like the NFL? Early season game? We used to have because I remember you played one in the Meadowlands. Was it the Kickoff Classic?
Kickoff Classic, the original Kickoff Classics, yeah. I remember Alabama one year played Ohio State up there. Another time I think Alabama played Boston College.
Take whoever gets the highest rated recruiting classes in the previous cycle and have them play all of their new freshmen in the Hall of Fame game.
I mean, it's a great idea. The problem with that idea is the same thing that what happens in the NFL. Now, I think the Falcons play tonight, and that will be interesting because like Kirk Cousins will have to play because he's the backup.
You got to watch that game.
You know what I'm saying?
That's your guy.
I love Kirk Cousins.
What if he's coaching his son's flag football team during the game?
Sure. Why not?
Like on Skype.
I think Chris Sims was the only person that had a problem with someone actually spending time with your family.
Yeah, I did not like that take by Chris Sims. Michael from the state of Georgia texted, and he says the number 1 player in the nation in 2027 class is going to commit later on today. It's edge rusher LaDamian Guyton. Likely choice Texas Tech. Has NIL impacted college football or what?
There's no doubt. But it will be fascinating to see where Texas Tech ends up in the Big 12 this year. And not if they don't play for a Big 12 title, but if they're not even in the conversation potentially for a college football playoff berth, then they have buyer's remorse. Do they continue to keep feeding that NIL beast, or do they pull back a little bit?
If I'm 18 years old, I'm a top prospect. I haven't heard or been offered a deal by Texas Tech. I'm having someone reach out to them.
Well, we talked about this yesterday, Pat. I don't know if you agree, but I feel like the success they had immediately in softball, that's just going to make the football fans even more angsty to be in the conversation this year.
There's no doubt.
Back to Conrad's question. This text comes in and says, tell Lugnuts they're green because they glow in the dark.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
You're talking about the items that's been thrown out on the WNBA court.
Mm-hmm. I think Conrad asked the question, why the color?
Well, it's just because they're all the same color.
Lugnuts has caught onto his name. Little Lugnuts or Lugnuts.
Yeah.
Conrad likes it.
It's clever.
It is. All right, keep the text rolling in. 205-834-9450.
We're live at Sanford Sports Industry Programs headquarters. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll talk to Rob Pate. Top of the hour, Martin Newton, the athletics director at Sanford. Also next hour, we'll talk to Chris Hatcher, the head football coach of the Birmingham's Sanford Bulldogs. All that straight ahead on Three Man Front. Jox Three Man Front. We're live at Sanford Sports Industry Program on the campus of Sanford University. It's also Sanford Football Media Days. We will talk to Martin Newton, the athletics director at Sanford, coming up in just a couple minutes. Also, the Sanford head football coach next hour, Rob Pate, along as well, coming up in about 10 minutes. So we got a lot to get into. We're just 16 days away from the start of the college football season, and I want to point everybody to the Three Man Front Twitter poll question of the day. which has to do with the schedule in the future of college football. Oregon's Dan Lanning, he is advocating for an earlier start to the college football season in week 0. This would allow for a more streamlined schedule, including a national championship game on January the 1st. So we asked the audience, when should the college football season start? Week 0, around August 23rd, or as is Labor Day weekend. Landrum Roberts has voted. He has voted week 0, and right now 56% of our audience agrees with Landrum Roberts. They say start early, August 23rd. Let's go.
Well, if you don't want it to happen, you're a college football fan, I would just love to know the reason why. For me, it's we get football sooner, and I feel like now whereas we have so much access year-round and there's so much news with NIL, the transfer portal, this used to be the time where we learned a lot, and we still learn, but not as much because we have so much access to that information all the time, Pat. And so why not go ahead and get it started? I think coaches would probably prefer it, wouldn't you think? How would this affect maybe the college football transfer portal and that earlier portal? If we're just going to go to one window, I wonder how much pushback you would get from coaches. But I'm sure Dan Lanning's thought about that, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. So you can go vote at the 3-Man Front Twitter page.
Well, you can also celebrate the kickoff to college football with us at the Bill Smith Buick GMC Jox Kickoff Party at Regions Field on Thursday, August 21st. And the only way to go is by winning tickets. So to win a pair of tickets for you and a guest, text the keyword Bulldogs in your full name to 205-834-9450. Once again, that's the keyword Bulldogs in your full name to 205-834-9450. Winners are drawn and notified daily, and for more information, visit joxfm.com.
So over the weekend, a very interesting thing took place. Mark Mangino, does that name ring a bell? Do you remember Mark?
I remember Mark, one of the better Kansas teams we've seen.
Yep. He was the head coach of the Kansas Jayhawks. He took the Jayhawks to as high as number 2 in the AP poll. Mangino was also named the National College Coach of the Year back in 2007 when the Jayhawks went 12-1. He served as assistant coach under Bill Snyder at Kansas State. He also served as an offensive coordinator under Bob Stoops at Oklahoma. He went 50-48 at Kansas. And for those that might not have been around in the early 2000s before like he took over Kansas, Kansas was absolutely the worst program in all of college football. Awful.
Even behind Indiana.
Yes. They were bad. But he went 50-48 at Kansas. He went 3-1 in bowl games, including an Orange Bowl win. Think about that. Kansas. An Orange Bowl win. But last Saturday, Mangino was inducted into the State of Kansas Sports Hall of Fame. Now, how cool was that?
Good for him. Well deserved.
And it was really funny because he was asked at this event about renewing the rivalry with Mizzou, because Mizzou and Kansas are playing this year. They're renewing that rivalry. This is a direct quote from Mangino. I think Kansas ought to go over there and spank them for leaving the conference, end of quote.
Okay. I was just reading. I did not realize that he had some of the brush-ups that he did in his career.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it was college, whether it was
By the
high
way,
school.
he looks really good. If you remember the way he looked on the sideline when he was at Kansas and the way he looks today, definite improvement and hopefully
he's 68
health-wise.
years old. I don't see how you reach 68 if you're carrying the weight that he did.
No, that's what I'm saying. He watching clips of that, and for those that love college football, and I know the majority of our audience, they love college football, whether it's Alabama, Auburn, it doesn't matter. That 2007 Kansas Jayhawk team, what they did was pretty amazing. I mean, they found themselves on November the 24th of 2007. They were the number 2 team in America. and they were taking on the number 3 ranked Missouri Tigers. Think about that. Number 2, Kansas.
At Arrowhead, right?
Number 3. Remember, it was just a freezing, cold, miserable game, and Missouri beat them 36-28. Over 80,000 people showed up at Arrowhead Stadium for a 2-versus-3 matchup. Kansas, number 2 in America, against number 3 Mizzou. Now, you want to talk about the Big 12 had things rolling back in 2007 with those two teams. But unfortunately, they lost that game, but they did get an invite to the Orange Bowl, and then they beat number 5 Virginia Tech 24-21 in the Orange Bowl. Beat Frank Beamer and the Virginia Tech Hokies.
Going back to his controversy, I know that we're celebrating his career, but after Mangino went 1-9 his first season as the head coach of Lincoln High School in Elwood City, Pennsylvania, a group of parents went to the school board, demanded his firing because of his language and harsh approach to people. The board elected not to fire him, but he left the school after 1 year, did not complete the year as a teacher.
Well, a lot of people forget. I mean, listen.
Imagine having him as driver's ed.
There's a famous picture of him on the staff at Kansas State. That Kansas State staff was incredible. You had the Stoops brothers on that. You had Jim Leavitt, who ended up being the head coach at South Florida, who was offered the Alabama job and turned it down to stay at South Florida. That's how bad things were back then, Conrad. You couldn't even hire the South Florida head coach to take over at Alabama.
Not a great time.
No.
A little different now.
But yeah, but again, congrats to Mark Mangino.
Yeah.
Being inducted into the State of Kansas Hall of Fame. But what they did in 2007, that was a magical year. I mean, just covering college football that year, and every single week, Paul and I would come in and we'd be like going, what is going on in Lawrence, Kansas? This is nuts.
Wasn't that the same year that West Virginia almost played for a national championship? Or was that the year before that?
Yeah, the early 2000s, man. You had Rutgers when Schiano was there the first time. Them in South Florida.
Rutgers was in the Big East at the time.
Yep, and you had South Florida.
South Florida had it rolling.
Yep. There was multiple teams that you tell people today that they were like a top 5 team or a top 3 team, and you're like going, you're lying. There's no way. But yeah, I mean, back then there was actually a lot more parity than what you have now.
Well, Virginia Tech, remember how good they were back in the early 2000s with Beamer and Michael Vick and others, and some of those defenses. Wow. But you said Mark Mangino. Yeah, that's immediately what I thought. 50-48 overall record.
Yeah, at
as
Kansas.
A college coach.
He did better in Kansas than Les Miles.
Les didn't have an opportunity. I feel like Les, had he been given long, and I realize why he wasn't, but I think Les was going to get that thing rolling somewhat. But Leipold's done a really good job.
Sure has. When we come back on Three Man Front, we'll talk to Rob Pate, former Auburn DB, joins us each and every Thursday right here on Jox.
We continue Samford Football Media Days, live here from the Sports Industry Program. Dr. Darren White, others joining us. We got Coach Chris Hatcher is going to join us in the 12 o'clock hour. Dr. Stephen Hill later on, but right now his regular spot. It is former Auburn defensive back, current eye doctor, and entrepreneur of the year in our eyes with Sweet Frog there in Auburn. Rob Pate joins us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Dr. Pate, how are you today?
Hey, guys, I'm doing good. How are y'all?
We're doing well. We're just trying to digest Coach's comments that we're getting, the like from Kalen DeBoer in Tuscaloosa, Hugh Freeze at Auburn. Hugh Freeze not happy with the level of energy that he saw at the last practice. Rob, is that something that Auburn fans should be concerned about, or is that kind of par for the course when it comes to this time of year?
Oh, definitely par for the course. I mean, it's a long grind, and these guys have been around each other for a long time, and a lot of them are heads are swimming, and so much of it is mental fatigue. The physical fatigue aspect, they've kind of gotten rid of some of the things that made this time of year so much more difficult than it is now. But I know they're throwing an awful lot at them from an X's and O's standpoint, and a lot of these guys, especially the young guys, and now with the transfer portal, these guys are coming in. It's new terminology. It's new expectations. It's new personnel groupings. And, so many guys are used to just being able to go out there and be the best athlete and not really worry about technique. And now every little step, every eye placement, what you see pre-snap, how you react. I mean, it's all measured. It's all important, and it's just it's a lot. I'm not surprised to hear that those guys had a little letdown.
Rob, in regards to what you're hearing from the quarterback standpoint, we obviously heard Hugh Freeze discuss that it appears that they already had a meeting in the quarterback room. Jackson Arnold, maybe being a little bit too greedy during the RPO package of their offense. But what you're hearing from around Auburn and the people that you talk to, it is a foregone conclusion that, he is the starting quarterback, and who would be the number 2 guy that potentially could be his backup if something were to happen to Jackson Arnold?
Yeah, I think that the messaging is going to be that it's Deuce Knight, because I think he's the future, and I think that he's got the most upside. He's got the guy that has the most time left in the program, and he's the guy that is a massive recruiting tool because a lot of people want to play with a guy like that. But I think in reality, if they got into a position where someone got injured, Jackson Arnold goes down, I think that they brought in Austin Daniels for a reason, to be able to have some packaging, the guy with some experience, a lot of experience, and a guy that they think could still win football games if they get in that position. So I'm not sure that would be how it would be listed, but it would be hard for me to believe, especially early in the season, that they would turn to a guy with no experience over a guy with a lot of experience. But we'll just have to see. I've heard nothing but incredible things about Deuce Knight, but that always kind of tends to be the case with backup quarterbacks. We always make them out to be just phenomenal and put a lot of extra pressure on the starter. So, but I do think that the transfer from Stanford would be probably the guy that gets the first look, just based off of the amount of game action he's had.
Rob, last year Auburn's offense was pretty darn good, 20-yard line to 20-yard line. Red zone absolutely killed them situationally, hurt them as well. How does Hugh Freeze and that offense rectify that before the season begins in Waco in a couple of weeks?
Well, that's a great question. I don't know what their red zone preparation is, and kind of what they're trying to do to get over the hump. But it's a big hump, and it really doesn't matter. In fact, as a former defender, what happened inside the 20s was really inconsequential. It really all mattered with how many points they put on the board. And Auburn's got to find a way to get over the hump. I think one of the biggest things is protecting the football, not getting greedy, not getting cute, when you get down in there, just not overthinking things. I mean, so often we thought like, you're inside the 5-yard line, just give it to Jarquez Hunter 3 or 4 times and let him score a touchdown. And I think you just have to get back to your basics and trust the people that you brought in to get those hard, tough yards. I think they feel a lot better about their personnel grouping and just what they've got offensively, especially across the offensive front. And I know that they have some big-bodied receivers that are going to be big in the red zone this year. So I think just trusting the guys that you've got on the roster to get the job done is the biggest thing, and not thinking that you have to kind of oversell that by calling the perfect play each time.
Rob, thinking back when you played at Auburn, at what point during fall camp were you ready to hit somebody new?
Every point. I mean, honestly, you're ready to hit a quarterback, man. I mean, those guys walking around in those, it was orange jerseys when we were there. I don't know what color jerseys. I think they still were orange, but I mean, those guys standing in the pocket and acting like they were completing these 50-yard bombs, and you're like, well, in reality, I can't hit you right now.
Right.
Or pulling the ball on an RPO and then just having to let him run by you, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, we wanted to hit old Ben Leard and guys like that. But look, I mean, honestly, we wanted to win games, and we knew that we needed a healthy quarterback to do it. It's the most important position on the field. But, yes, you definitely look forward to running into somebody in an opposite color jersey and really just kind of seeing, how much better have we gotten. It's hard to make that determination playing against your own team, and being able to go out and in front of the lights and in front of a crowd and seeing how you're able to perform, man, there's nothing like it. I know these guys are excited for that.
Rob Pate, he joins us every Thursday, gives us an update on the Auburn Tigers. Rob, we always appreciate the time. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Y'all too. War Eagle. Thank you.
Rob Pate and all of our guests join us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
Martin Newton, the athletics director at Sanford University, joins us next on Three Man Front. Welcome back to Jox and Three-Man Front. Pat, Molly, Landrum. We're live on the campus of Samford University. We're coming to you live from the Sanford Sports Industry Program headquarters right here in the business school. This is also Sanford Football Media Days. We're always happy to get the invite, and we always accept because it's a beautiful place to call home, and our next guest calls home here, and this is Martin Newton's territory. He's the athletics director at Samford University, also recently named the chair of the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Committee for the upcoming 2026-27 campaign. Martin, welcome to the program. Thank you so much for having us on campus.
Well, man, we appreciate y'all being here, and you couldn't have picked a better day, right? This is Chamber of Commerce weather, although it's a little hot on that field. And I didn't see you guys down there. What's the deal here?
Well, you know, we like this AC up here in the business school, Martin. I mean, it's like work smarter, not harder, right? I mean,
I thought there was a little more toughness with this group, but that field's it's still pretty hot down on that field. But no, it's we're so glad y'all are on campus, and again, it's a little quiet, the calm before the storm. Students show up in a couple weeks, and it'll be crazy after that.
Yeah, Martin, analytics told us that being inside today was probably the better option for these two guys.
Yeah, Dr. White gave us a whole rundown of the do's and don'ts and the items of our body that was going to be injured if we went down there for the punt, pass, and kick competition. So we decided to stay here.
Yeah. You're smart men, smart men.
Well, listen, you were talking about the calm before the storm, but as an athletics director in this world of intercollegiate athletics, have you been able to have a resting moment at all over the course of the last 2 years?
No, and I told somebody the other day I was speaking to a group and they wanted to get into college athletics. I said, you need to understand that college athletics is not a job, it's a way of life. And it's getting more so. You know, it used to be you'd have a little bit of time in the summer where you could kind of get away and get a break, and then the house settlement came about and the transfer portal and all these things, and it's just a constant challenge. But it's so much fun. And then being on the basketball committee, that adds a whole nother set of responsibilities. But it's, again, if you love it and if you're passionate about sport and you're passionate about kids, then this is what it's all about. This is fun.
Martin, as far as the student athlete that a school like Sanford is targeting through recruitment for their for your various athletics programs, NIL and the transfer portal, we realize that it's affected everybody as a whole. What has the impact been for a school like Sanford and others in the SoCon?
Yeah, it's challenging at our level because if you get a really good, we try to recruit high school kids. It's harder for transfers to get into a school like Sanford, and a lot of stuff doesn't transfer in. So we try to focus on high school kids, or have in the past. But at the end of the day, once you get them in and you develop them, then with the transfer portal being the way it is, without having to sit a year in residency, then if they're really good, they're going to leave. In some cases, even if they don't develop, but they fill a need, then you have a tendency to lose those as well. We've done a pretty good job from a retention standpoint of keeping them, although we've had to put together an entirely new basketball team. But it's always hit or miss, right? Because you don't know exactly what you're going to get because you haven't really gone through a full recruiting process. And that's one of the things I probably, being a little old school, miss more than anything is just, those coaches really, you start recruiting a young man or woman in the 10th grade or the 11th grade, and you develop relationships with him or her and their parents and their friends and their coaches, and that's really kind of gone out of the window now. So you've really got to make sure that in a short window that you've really dotted your I's and crossed your T's and done all the due diligence you can to make sure that you know exactly what you're getting from a character standpoint as well as a competency standpoint.
Martin, when you talk to other people in the industry, other athletic directors, whether it's at the Division I level or the FCS level, do you feel like we're on the right track in regards to, I guess, some commonality in regards to what this is going to look like moving forward now that the House settlement, the dust is finally trying to settle?
Yeah, the problem is I don't think the dust is settled, and I don't think that it will settle. I think you're going to see a series of additional lawsuits that are going to come out of the House settlement. I just think it's the nature of the industry that we're in right now, and until we get some support from Congress, and I can't believe I'm even saying that, but until we get some support from Congress from an antitrust standpoint or an employment standpoint or collective bargaining, I think it's going to continue to be just unsettled. And I think we've got to get used to that new norm that nothing is going to stay the same from not only year to year, but really semester to semester. So I think things are going to continue to get challenged, and I think we're going to continue to have people think the right, doing things for the right reasons instead of just doing things for the sake of their personal gain.
Martin, I'm just curious. We hear statements from college football coaches and some athletic directors, maybe a conference commissioner here or there, and specifically talking about college football at the FBS level. And they talk about we've got to do what's good for the whole of college football. I don't know if that's even realistic. It sounds great and it sounds wonderful. I'm just wondering from your perspective and being involved in intercollegiate athletics as long as you have, is that reality coming up with a solution that is the best for the whole when everybody's impacted differently?
It's theory and reality, right? I think in theory, everybody really believes that. I think in theory, everybody that gets into college athletics gets into it because they really want to, help young people. They want to teach them how to be better adults. But the reality of it is we're in a culture where it's about winning, and it's about what have you done for me yesterday. And so I think it in theory, it sounds good, and I think they really believe that. We all believe that, but at the end of the day, it's I got to do what's best for my program, and we got to win, because if I don't, then I'm going to lose. Now, the money is so much bigger now. I remember when my dad coached at the University of Alabama, 1968, he was making $12,500 a year. Now think about that. All right. So today these coaches are making so much money that's $12,000. They're making $12,500 a day. So that mindset of I got to do what's best for the whole gets thrown away when you're thinking about I got to take care of my family and I do what's best for my family. So again, it's theory and reality. I think it sounds good, but it's not when it gets right down to it. Human nature tells you we're going to do what's best for ourselves.
Martin, when you were with us last time, right after the NCAA selection committee had made its final selection Sunday, we asked you about your head basketball coach, and you were very honest with us. You knew that there were going to be plenty of suitors for his talent, and Bucky ended up going to College Station. But you were very quick to go out and get Lenny Acuff. It's a very familiar name for those basketball fans in the state of Alabama. Just take us through that process and how quickly you were able to get that done with Lenny Acuff.
Well, every AD, you always hear that every AD's got 2 or 3 names in his pocket, and that's the truth. I mean, we all, it's a big industry, but it's a small industry, right? We all know each other. Everybody's got connections, and so I was so familiar with Lenny, and just 14 years ago when I first got here, even thinking at that time that, boy, Lenny would be a great fit here at Sanford. He's a phenomenal basketball coach, but he's an even better person, and I just thought he'd be a great fit. And things didn't work out, but they eventually worked out the way they were supposed to. The whole thing with Bucky, in all transparency, I thought we dodged a bullet. We kind of got through most of the tournament, and I thought, okay, good, some jobs have been filled. I really didn't think Texas A&M would be a job that would be on his radar, or that he might be on their radar. I know how good Bucky is and how talented he is, but I'm just not sure that a lot of other people did. So I thought, all right, we've kind of dodged the bullet. And Bucky and I even talked about it, and I told him in complete transparency. I just said, Bucky, we're going to have this one more year. We're going to have a blast, man. He made the comment, it'll be like the last dance of the Chicago Bulls. We're going to blow it out. We're just going to kill this thing. And I said, but then after that year, this following year, you got to go. Well, it happened a little bit quicker, and then all of a sudden I'm at the Final Four, and I'm in a working capacity, and I get a phone call from a search firm, and I first get a phone call from Bucky because he kept me in the loop on everything. Then I get a call from a search firm, then I get a call from the AD, and the next thing you know, he's in about 48 hours, he's headed to Texas A&M. And in about 12 hours, I'd already set my sights on who I wanted and made a phone call and a text message, and we met the next day, and bada bing, bada boom, it was pretty much a done deal.
We continue our visit with Sanford Director of Athletics Martin Newton, who has also been named the chair of the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Committee for the 2026-2027 season. Not that it wasn't already a load of fun for you, and we talked to you leading up and then post-selection, but what will this new expanded role mean for you?
It's funny. My wife asked me that the other day, and I said, well, the good news for you, you'll probably see less of me. It's going to be it's like it's almost like having another full-time job. Because there's a lot that goes into it if you're going to do it right. And the people that I've watched do this role, they've done such a good job, whether it's Bubba Cunningham or Charles McClellan. They just did such a great job of leading that group and serving that group, because that's really all you are. You're in a servant's role on this thing. And I'm really excited about, because I love basketball. I've been around it my whole life, but I'm really excited about the opportunity that I get, because there's going to be a lot of things on the horizon and just in very near future that could change the landscape of college basketball. I mean, there's already a lot of talk about whether we expand or whether we don't, and who knows what direction that's going to go. And just the college landscape in general, for me, it's a real honor, because again, this game's been a part of my family and my life, and so to be able to have a small, very small part in maybe impacting or directing the future of the game, it's just such an honor. So I'm excited about it. I'm probably won't be too excited when I start getting those death threats from people when their teams don't make it in the tournament, but we'll deal with those as they come.
All right, so I'm not looking for a headline here, but you're always very honest with us, no matter what we ask you. But I have to ask you, because the NCAA officially put out about a week ago that they will not, at least they're putting it on the back burner, they will not expand the NCAA basketball tournament for this upcoming season. Do you feel like we are headed next year, Martin, that it is inevitable, but that this tournament will expand in some form or fashion, maybe when you become the chairperson in 2026?
I don't know that it's inevitable, right? I think there's a lot of really good discussion around this. And it's not just the men's basketball committee, but it's also the women's basketball committee. And I think that's really important, to make sure that you really know your why we're doing this, opposed to just, well, you're getting public pressure to do it or not to do it. So I think there's some really good discussion. A decision has not been made. I will tell you that up front. I mean, there's still ongoing discussions. There's a lot of logistical things that have to take place. When you think about expansion, you've got to think about charter airlines. You've got to think about how you're going to rework a bracket. You've got to think about hotels. You've got to think about arenas. So there's a lot of different things that you've got to think about, television inventory and the television rights. And so there's a lot of different things that go into the expansion conversation, as opposed to just saying, yeah, let's move this thing to 72 or 76. And what I will tell you is there's been some really healthy dialogue, some really healthy discussion, and that will continue. And I think when we feel like we've answered the why, all the whys, then I think the decision will be made whether we expand or whether we stay the same. It's a pretty good event as is, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It's wonderful.
It's wonderful. It's on the Mount Rushmore for me on my college sports calendar of the time of the year and what we get in those few weeks. Martin Newton, thank you so much for hosting us. Thank you for joining us. You're always so kind with your time and very insightful.
Well, you guys are the best. I appreciate all y'all do to promote all sports in Alabama, not just Alabama and Auburn. You promote all of us. So appreciate you, and thank you very much. And I'm hopeful that Molly's Cornhuskers are going to have a better year this year. She needs to roll something to be she's a feel good this year.
She is hopeful, and we as her coworkers and teammates are very hopeful, because a happy Molly is a happy show.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You guys are the best. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Martin.
Thank you. Martin Newton joining us, as all of our guests do, on the Higginbotham Hotline for all of your insurance, financial, HR services. It's your one-source solution with our friends at Higginbotham.
Water doesn't need an invitation. It can find its way in an e-crawl space, bringing along mold, mildew, pests, and wood rot. But APS has the solution. Call them today, 205-951-9717. The APS crawl space encapsulation system. It seals out the moisture, blocks pests, and can even reduce your energy bills. And with added protection, your crawl space becomes usable, valuable storage space. Every home is different. That's why the engineers at APS can come to your house and they can give you a solution built specifically for you. Go to the website, alabamaprofessional.com. APS, protecting Alabama homes since 1977.
I can hear the air raid sirens off in the distance as part of Sanford football's media days. Head coach Chris Hatcher is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. You don't want to miss that as we continue live from beautiful Sanford University on a Thursday's three-man front on Jox.
Always appreciate Martin Newton, the athletics director of Samford University, joining us here on Three Man Front. Pat Landrum, Molly, we're live on campus, Samford University. We'll talk to the head football coach coming up at the bottom of the hour. The Courtesy GMC text line is wide open, 205-834-9450. If you would like to get a couple of texts in before the bottom of the hour, we would welcome that. Also, the phone lines are open at 1-800-239-WJOX.
I will share this. Joey Mullins, our friend here at Sanford, he is just across the way for the media punt, pass, and kick competition. He has texted in on the Jox text line and let us know that one Damian Mitchell has won the contest. So he has avenged his embarrassment, the embarrassment of the station, his family, former teammates.
Ryan Hennessy beat him, right?
Ryan Hennessy beat him.
Well,
Ryan Hennessy is not competing, so you can put an asterisk by this win that the reigning champion did not return to compete.
Yeah, Hennessy is no longer in the Birmingham metropolitan area, so Damian was able to win that crown. So congratulations to D.
That is correct. Going back to Mark Mangino, former Kansas head coach, just recently inducted into their Hall of Fame. Old Mark Mangino, quote, "Our coach will eat your coach, LOL, the good old days." He's trimmed up.
He has. Lost a few pounds.
Kyle texts into the show. Have you seen the video of the Alabama players being asked to give a shout-out to Bama fans with an iPhone, but getting trolled because a phone filter spreads their eyes apart? It's golden.
I have not seen that. Have you seen it, Conrad?
No, I've not. I'll go try to find it.
Yeah, try to find it. Post it. This question. Why is there a week 0, and when did it start? I always remember a week 1 until the last few years.
So the first one that I remember was back in the early 80s. I don't know if it was 82 or 83. I remember it was, I think it was Nebraska and Penn State. I believe Nebraska was number 1. Penn State was number 4 in America. And I think they played that game at Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. I think that was the very first one. And back in the old days, the NCAA, they had to give you a waiver to play in that week 0 game. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Back in the old days, they also had to give you a waiver if you played in Hawaii, they would allow you to schedule an additional game on your schedule. And that's what Alabama did when Alabama got hit with NCAA probation. They scheduled Hawaii because they couldn't go to a bowl game because of NCAA regulations. So they ended up going to Hawaii as their air quote bowl game. But I think now they give blanket waivers for everyone, that if you want to play on week 0, you pretty much have that capability.
Yeah, first week 0 game, 83 kickoff classic. Number 1 Nebraska beat number 4 Penn State 44-6 in East Rutherford.
So I was right.
Yep.
I just didn't know the year. I just remember that.
Some of the other good ones that we've had, back in 2002, you had Colorado and Virginia in Charlottesville. That was the Jim Thorpe Classic. You had number 25 Wisconsin and Fresno State, FSU and Iowa State back in 2002. We had a lot of those in the early 2000s.
Yeah. It was good stuff.
Some of the other notables, we got Florida and Miami. Week 0 in 2019.
That's right. Now that you mention that, I do remember that now.
I'm just looking at the slate the last few years. Yeah, it's dropped off just a little bit.
Yeah. Very much so.
We'll continue with your text on the Jox text line, 205-834-9450. Going back to Virginia Tech, early 2000s, Virginia Tech's nemesis under Beamer was Miami. They couldn't seem to ever beat them.
Miami had a really good football program in the early 2000s before it went south.
Well, they had the best football team of all time in 2001.
Yeah, according to some ESPN poll.
Not trying to spread rumors. This text coming in. It is football season. We're passionate. This one coming out of the state of Florida. Is it true that the LSU quarterback has torn his knee?
No.
I was about to say, I have not seen that.
That was a hot rumor on social media yesterday, but no, he is fine.
Have you talked to him?
Have you seen video?
No, but from the people that cover the program, I'm going to take their word for it.
Is Brian Kelly still on the wagon? Because if he's not, that could mean that Nussmeier tore his knee.
Well, as we learned in the documentary, he has quite a selection.
You got a lot of wine.
If he needed to go home and drown his sorrows, yeah.
Did you see Brian Kelly's wine collection?
I did.
Pretty impressive. Do you think he knows about all of those wines, or it's just there, came to the house, and he was like, well, we might as well put stuff in it?
Probably came with the house, and they probably just, have it for show. Because I know an individual that purchased a house recently, and they had one of those wine cellars, and
I wonder if he hosted that party that we saw in the Netflix documentary. You think a lot of that was done just because Netflix was there and they were filming, or do you think he's a regular host of big shindigs at the house?
I just do not know enough about Brian Kelly's social life to be able to comment on that.
He seemed like a guy, though, that it would be an enjoyable time going to his house and hanging out. But cameras are on. Also saw him in practice.
Yeah.
Dog cussing his players.
We know one thing is for sure. School is back in session, and it's time to roll in a new season in style with Courtesy GMC and Trussville. Right now, get up to $14,000 off a brand-new GMC Sierra 1500. How about saving $5,000 on every Yukon or Yukon XL in the all-new Acadia? I'm talking about 2026 models, folks. $10,000 off the powerful 2025 Sierra HDs, plus every new GMC comes with a 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. That's peace of mind that lasts. Hurry to Courtesy GMC right off of I-459, exit 32 in Trussville, where they've got the lowest prices in the Southeast. Visit them online at courtesybirmingham.com.
Coach Chris Hatcher, head coach of the Sanford Bulldogs, gets us ready for the 25 season next on Three Man Front.
It is 12:28. We're back on the campus of Samford University. It's Sanford Football Media Days, and joining us is the head football coach of the Sanford Bulldogs, Chris Hatcher. Coach, always great to see you. Thanks for having us.
Well, I appreciate you guys being on the campus and having me on the show today.
Oh, listen, we were just talking off the air. Landrum and I, we get to report and talk about this every day. But just bless your heart. Every single day you come in the office, just trying to navigate your way as a head football coach these days, it's got to be a challenge.
Well, there's just so much uncertainty and unknown. We have some guidelines, but nobody really knows, where the boundaries are. And I think, like we talked about earlier, before we got on the show, that makes for good talk radio. But it is challenging, especially at a school at a level that you don't generate any revenue. You're just trying to, get you guys to the game in a good shape, feed them good, take good care of them as far as gear goes and things of that nature. So it doesn't really affect our level quite as much, but I think it's coming down the pipe.
How many of these coaches, because you know a lot of them that are coaching at the FBS level, a lot of them at big-time programs, how many of those guys have not maybe from a schematics or philosophically what they do on game days, but kind of reinvent themselves and restructure their approach, because there seems like it is just so much stuff, Coach, that you have to deal with on a daily basis?
Well, the challenge there is, all of us have high standards, and whatever our standard is, you can't deviate from that. The key to me being a good coach, especially in changing times, is you may have to change the way you get to the standard. And I think that's what you're seeing more and more in college right now. You're just changing how you get the great player. You're changing how you get to that championship level. There is no blueprint for this. I mean, it was back like during COVID, you had no manual of how to navigate that. And, this is a profession that's been going on for a long time. There's always change, but at least you had a base to follow. This is a whole new world we live in.
I want to go back to that COVID year. I know that we learned so much professionally during that year. We did our show from the house and had to do it virtually, and content of the show and how we kind of went about things. And it's helped us and made us better in a lot of ways moving forward. Would that pandemic year or playing spring football really teach you and kind of propel you moving forward?
Well, I think you're right. You do learn a lot of different ways to navigate. I mean, you learn how to hold Zoom meetings, which you would have never thought. You learn that you could be a little more efficient. To me, the biggest takeaway is just the personal interaction. I think that we lost that during that time. People thought, well, hey, I don't have to go in the office. I can just sit at my house and get the same amount of work done. But that face-to-face contact, that communication, man-to-man, if you will, coach to player, I think that's important. And I think we lost that. But fortunately, it's starting to come back a little bit more pre-pandemic era.
Since we are talking about the pandemic, you had an opportunity to play football, but it was during spring. It was actual – it counted, that type of year. I mean, how was that for you in regards to just playing the game at all during COVID, but playing in the spring?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is, football season, you start when it's hot as Hades out there. And the goal is to finish when it's really cold. The difference in the spring season, you started when it was cold, and then all of a sudden you're worried, man, we're going to melt today because it's gotten up to the 80s. So the weather was definitely different. But I really think that was a good niche for our level of ball. Cole came over to practice,
sure did,
and he did our games, and great exposure, from the radio station, and but again, most people don't agree with my assessment, but I would actually entertain the idea that our season would be in the spring. Now, there's a lot of things that happen. The hiring season, I lost a trainer, a strength coach, 2 coordinators.
Oh my!
A month before we started the spring season, but because that was the time, that coaching changes take place. But it was interesting. It was a lot of fun, and we were pretty successful that year. And, again, it'd be something that I would entertain if they'd give us the opportunity to do that again.
From your perspective.
Not the pandemic,
no,
just the spring season.
No, yeah, we understand. We got you.
Don't watch the news today because there's something brewing way over there. Coach Chris Hatcher joining us here at Sanford head football coach. You've been doing it for a long time. You're Sanford's winningest football coach that they've ever had on this beautiful campus. Last year was not up to your standard, wasn't up to the Sanford standard. Early in camp, are there I don't want to say red flags, but just certain indicators you're looking for to go, you know what, I think we might have something here?
Well, I think team chemistry is big, and last year wasn't quite sure that we had the chemistry that we've had years before. Sometimes it happens that way. There's no magic formula or potion that you can pour on everybody and hey, y'all get along and let's work good together. This season, we've really recruited well high school players. Okay, we didn't go quite as heavy in the portal because we were capable of signing some what we consider better players in the high school ranks. We're going to be a young team, but the biggest thing I want to see our guys is compete and enjoy playing football. And so far, I've seen that. The fun has come back. And, last year when we talk about standards and things of that nature, you just want your team to be ultimate. And the definition is the best achievable as kind. You never know what that's going to be. But we had a lot of close defeats last year. Our guys continued to fight. We beat ranked Chattanooga in the second to the last game of the year. Made a tremendous comeback against Western Carolina, who finished the season ranked. It just came up a little short. Even with all the tough defeats early in the year, man, our team kept fighting. And so they reached the standard of competition. Our record just didn't show it. And, again, at the end of the day, that's what you're judged on.
Coach, in regards to your schedule this year, and there's no secret, I mean, you have to have these money games for a program like Sanford being at FCS. You got to go to Waco. And then you're finishing the schedule in Texas again, this time against Texas A&M. Kind of take us about how those non-con games came together.
Well, our president, he was at Baylor at one time. So we've been working on that game for quite some time. And, we're excited about that opportunity. He was instrumental in helping us get that game. And then, it was a 12-game season. Scheduling's very difficult. And one of the teams, FCS teams, actually dropped out of the A&M game, and we were free that last weekend. And so a little extra incentive there, a little bit extra money. We get to go play the Aggies there at Kyle Field. So hopefully we'll be in the playoff hunt at that time and go down there and play well.
I'm curious, not only for you personally, but being here at Samford, and we know the affiliation with Faith, but Faith on a daily basis within your program, and how those parallels are drawn. How do you structure that with this program?
Great question. When Dr. Andy Westmoreland hired me 11 years ago, man, 11 years at one place. I'm very blessed, first of all, to be the head coach at Sanford. But he said, you got three things that if you want to be the coach here, you got to do. Number one, you got to graduate your players. Number two, you got to give your guys the opportunity to know Christ. And number three, you got to win championships. And I feel like our staff's committed to that each and every day. It's the same values that that everybody on this campus has. But, it's really amazing to see our guys when they come in, and then how much they grow in the faith by being here. It's pretty amazing. I let my players do the devotionals each and every Friday. But during COVID, I did learn that we couldn't have any guests, so I just said, "Why don't the players do the devotionals?" They did such a good job. I kept letting them do it, and every now and then you'll get one. I'll be over there bawling. I'm a really sensitive. I cry at all movies and things of that day, but I'm over there crying, thinking, "Man, this is great." I don't know if it's anything that we do particular. It's just this university invites has that type of vibe about it, that you can be open about it and grow in your faith if you choose to do so.
Coach, I am curious to get your perspective on something, because one of the things that we debate a great bit of time talking about the FBS is the expansion of the college football playoff. And I'll never forget when it was at 4 teams, and then we're saying, okay, let's go to 12. Everybody's like, well, it puts so much on the student athlete. They don't need to be playing football that much. You guys at the FCS level, you've got a bigger playoff. You guys play that. How much of a strain is it on your student athletes, what you see, because you guys have gone deep into the playoffs?
Well, there's always strain the more games you play. I mean, that just makes sense. It's going to be harder on your depth and things of that nature. But at Valdosta State, we were annually, in the championship game there at the end of the year. I think we went 13-1, 14-1. Once you get to that point, man, and you're playing for something, you'll play another week if they'll let you. So I don't see the strain on it, but I do think in the playoffs, no matter what number you put on it, we're at 24 at the FCS, and there's always a debate that 4 or 5 other teams should have been in before someone else. So I don't know that it matters, but right now it seems like the game is more so than ever driven by money, and if playing more games generates more money, I guess that's what we'll continue to do.
Coach, your team this year and heading in, I think I saw by one outlet picked 4th in the SoCon, maybe 3rd, but offensive side of the ball, and that's been your bread and butter.
Yeah.
What are we looking at with a lot of new faces?
Well, last year was very subpar in that area. We had a turnover bug that really hampered our production. Your guess is as good as mine. We have two guys that have playing experience. Quincy Crittenden, which is a good one to have back, our quarterback.
Yeah.
He started every game last season. He is back, looks better than ever. And then we have a sophomore wide receiver, Preston Bird, who really came on the last 4 or 5 games of the season. And then other than that, that's pretty much all we got coming back that has a lot of production. But I've been really pleased. We're going to have about 3 true freshmen that'll be in the rotation that I think are going to be really good football players here. Our offensive line, we struggled last season, is much more athletic. We got to do a good job of protecting them early to kind of, see how they do in real game situations. But I feel like our running back room's deeper than it was last year. Again, man, I'm optimistic. We're 21 days out from game 1. If I'm not going to be optimistic now, I never will be.
In regards to the SoCon in general this year, always a very tough league, but you think talent-wise it's going to be on par as the previous years?
I really do. The hard thing, and you talk about these preseason rankings, is with the transfer portal, especially at our level, because our best players are getting plucked by the big boys. I mean, let's be honest, and that's okay. That's just the way it works. You really don't know. You really don't know what everybody has right now. So that's always a big key, going into the season. The team that you may think's the best, they may have lost a lot of players. Like I think Chattanooga, traditionally, they're tops in the league. I think they lost anywhere from 15 to 18 guys to the transfer portal last year. So they're starting over. And I think that's what you're going to see at our level. You're going to have younger teams year in and year out. But the league's always really close. There's a lot of parity in the league. They always come down to the end. Hopefully this year we can make a few more plays and come out of there and get to the playoffs and win the championship.
I think that this campus, I put it up against any, and I think you guys would agree. It doesn't matter the level across the country, but for this particular season, your schedule, SoCon opponents, is there a particular venue that you look forward to going to and just seeing?
Well, number one, I don't like any of the teams we play okay, at the end of the day. So it's hard for me to compliment them. Now, I am from Macon, Georgia, the home of the Mercer Bears, okay? Right. I am from there. So I like going back home, see my folks. I get a good following there. But, I think everybody's unique in their own way. Everybody has a unique atmosphere in this league. But I tell you, when you go to Western Carolina – in the fall, and the leaves have changed, and they're having a good season. They have a concert right outside the visitor locker room, and it's pretty impressive. And they pack the place in there, and you got a bunch of mountain folks up there, and they're having a good time.
Oh yeah.
And that's a real, when they're rocking and rolling, that's a hard place to play at our level.
Oh wow.
I give them a tip of the cap on that one.
Your players learn new words?
Well, I don't know that they learn new ones. You just hear a lot of them out
there. That is Coach Chris Hatcher. Coach, always a pleasure talking ball with you, and thanks for having us. It's always a pleasure to come over here on Football Media Days and be a part of this. But good luck this season. We're always pulling for you.
Well, you guys are the best. We appreciate the coverage. And, just outside the door, I have to announce this. The Sanford punt, pass, and kick champion, Damian Mitchell, is standing out here today.
My gosh.
Congratulations to him right there. But you guys are the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Coach Chris Hatcher joining us here at Sanford right here on Jox. More coming up right after this.
12:47, we continue here from beautiful Samford University, a part of their media days, part of their media team. One Damian Mitchell, he's part of our team. The punt, pass, and kick competition that they had the home run derby during baseball and softball season. They do this competition, Molly, during football season. Damian threw up all over himself last year.
But hey, you know what? It's a new year. New season, new start, and we're looking at a winner. I like that jersey.
Appreciate it. Congratulations, Damian.
Thank you.
We did get a little bit of the lowdown.
Yeah, walk us through.
That you hit a what would be the equivalent of sculling one in golf or hitting a worm burner, and it kind of caroms around a little bit and finds its way near the pin.
Yeah.
Basically, we were told you got lucky.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say I got lucky.
Okay.
It did come down to my final kick, and may or may not have rolled an extra 20 to 22
We were
yards.
told 50 yards.
You know how coaches are. They just exaggerate a little bit. No, but it was off the foot initially. I was staring at another second place finish. But then on the last roll, it just kept going and going and going. And the lucky number was 46.
So who had your number? Who's beating you?
Fox 6. John. What's John's last name? I can't even think of it. But he's from Fox 6. And he had I will say he had a punt that probably, I think it went like 40 in the air and it rolled to like 54. And he had the lead going into the final round, but the best thing for us was they clean off the first round numbers, and whoever is in the finals, they take those scores, and that's what made me the winner.
So that's what Joey told me, because that's what happened to you last year. You were
Exactly.
winning, and then you lost in the final, and that's why.
Yeah, it was muscle memory, and I dug deep into what I did wrong last year, and I didn't want to have a repeat. And we rock paper scissors, so John had to go first, and the passing portion is what got him.
Okay.
The passing portion is what got him, and I had my Marcus Mariota jersey on, so I dug into my flying Hawaiian spirit, and
I thought you were about to say roots. I was like, what?
No, the flying Hawaiian spirit, and I unleashed one.
I'm just looking for John's name with Fox 6 because you just keep calling him John. And
Oh, yeah,
I feel
sure
like
enough,
we need to probably get his last name. How many other contestants were there?
4.
Pat dying laughing from the other side of the room.
Listen,
4?
That's all that matters.
4?
I didn't ask.
But hey, you came out a winner.
That's what I'm saying.
Did you reach out to former sports director at WVTM 13, Ryan Hennessy,
He was the first
who won
person.
this?
Yes, he was the first person I reached out to.
Did you reach out and say thank you for not participating? Otherwise, I would have been a bridesmaid once again.
No, in other choice words, I just let him know that his reign of success as the reigning punt, pass, and kick competition winner is over.
Has he responded?
He has.
What did he say?
He said, "Congratulations, Damian."
Oh,
and
good.
In so many words.
In so many words.
So he called you a name back.
Of course.
Yeah.
Just poking fun with each other. I wouldn't say it was fun because it was kind of personal. I really wish he would have participated this year because everybody kept it the sportsmanship was at an all-time high today. But when I got to the final round, I had to lock in, and I stopped smiling. I stopped talking to people, and I just had to focus in on what my job was. Quincy Critton, the quarterback for Sanford, I asked him for some last-minute tips and pointers of like, hey, what did you see in my first round that I can improve on in the passing portion of it? He gave me a couple sprinkle some nuggets of information, and now I'm the winner, man. I'm glad I could
We're proud of you.
bring a trophy home to the job.
So what was the more dominant performance this week, Damian? You today at Media Days or you versus Don on Tuesday?
Well, I would say I was a heavy favorite coming into this one. So the expected result happened. So I think my performance in the debate was a little bit better. Like that was complete domination from the jump. Whereas in this one, it started off a little shaky. But it's not about how you start. It's how you finish, and I finished strong. I thought you would be a little bit more happy about that.
I'm very proud of you.
I really do appreciate that.
I'm just having a hard time.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just celebrating or sharing in your happiness.
You just should have lied about how many people participated. You should have said like 30 people were there.
Not 4.
The sample size was small, man.
Sanford this year, though. You're talking about Crittenden.
Yeah.
You got to see him up close and personal last year.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Hatcher said we had a turnover bug. We had a problem.
Yeah.
You look at this team based on what you've seen. Better year?
Should be. The only thing is they're extremely young in a lot of places. Like, Quincy is the only offensive returner coming back on that side of the ball. But I think one thing about the Hatch attack, what you got in the air raid, what you have in the air raid, it's geared for the quarterback to have success, but it's all about his decision making and some of the quicker throws. And a lot of teams in the SoCon, they're kind of very evenly matched because you saw a Sanford team last year. Again, they went 4-7, but they knocked off a ranked Mercer team.
Yeah.
And they ended up going to the playoffs, and they knocked them off early on that season. He had 5 touchdowns, over 300 yards, and it's like, okay, when it clicks, this thing looks beautiful. But there were a couple games last season where turnovers just ended up being the Achilles heel, and then the defense was kind of, in the short field situations, and you can't really put yourself behind the 8 ball. And I think a lot of the things that Quincy, at least from what he's told me, is just like, last year was a learning process. Like, it was a very true learning process. And now with him being the only guy that's really had a lot of playing time, he's almost entered offensive coordinator mode of, all right, these freshman wide receivers, these younger guys that, we haven't really seen before, this is what I'm looking for as the quarterback. This is what, some of the guys in the past have done on certain concepts. And I think that Quincy is extremely comfortable. He really is. And I think Hatch is probably going to open it up a little bit with his legs because he can be, he's a dual threat guy. When he does bring the ball down, he's pretty elusive in the open field.
Who's the dirtiest team in the SoCon, in your opinion? Because for me, in doing UAB games, they got a new coach, and I don't know the new coach, so not an indictment on him, but just my experience. It was Rice. Who is it for you?
I'd probably say Western Carolina.
Okay, interesting.
I'd probably say Western Carolina
because Coach Hatcher was just talking about the trip to Western Carolina.
They travel well, I will say. The few times I've got a chance to see them in person, but like they have they got a little moxie to them. Like they're a little different. Mercer's kind of up there, but they do keep a lot of theirs just on the field. Like they carry themselves as like they're the cream of the crop, so it kind of rubs people the wrong way. But I would say Western Carolina for sure.
Who plays with the most honor besides Sanford? Who's the classiest? Help you up every time.
VMI.
Yeah, I know it.
VMI. They're disciplined.
Well, Damien, congratulations.
Thank you, Landry. Do you mean it?
You don't have to carry the albatross.
Do you genuinely mean that? It's all good.
I do. Congratulations.
Thank you, Landry.
It's great. They give you that jersey?
They did.
Huh.
Get to keep it. It fits.
No, you can sleep in it.
They
didn't have a youth?
This is the youth.
Oh, this is the youth. Damian Mitchell, the winner of the punt, pass, and kick, Sanford Media Days 2025. We continue. We're about to get a lot smarter. It's not hard to do, but Dr. Stephen Hill is going to join us. Numbers you need to know for the upcoming college football season. That and more. 3-man front on Jox.
It is 1 o'clock. Welcome back in. This is Jox. This is Three-Man Front. Appreciate everyone at Sanford. The hospitality through the roof, as it always is. We have been here at the wonderful sports industry program headquarters in the business school. Dr. Darren White joined us earlier in the show. We're going to be joined in just a couple of minutes by Associate Professor of Data Analytics at the Brock School of Business. Dr. Stephen Hill will join us here momentarily.
Well, there's no better place in town to enjoy sports and music than the Finnick near Railroad Park. The Finnick's your front row seat to the best entertainment, massive screens, explosive sound from every seat in the house. The experience is bigger, brighter, and bolder. And the Finnick's new restaurant menu is certainly worth cheering for, with wings that win MVPs and wood-fired burgers that are stacked like your fantasy team. The Finnick's new 6-day schedule includes live acoustic acts Wednesday through Friday, so that means today, and live bands on Fridays beginning at 10 p.m., and then Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays dedicated to sports on all those video screens with the great sound. No live music to get in the way. Make it your go-to place, not only during the college football and NFL seasons, but here in the fall in Birmingham. We can't wait to see you at the Finnick, 1630 2nd Avenue South, near Railroad Park.
Joining us here and in the wonderful confines of the sports industry program is Associate Professor of Data Analytics here at Samford University, Dr. Stephen Hill. And Dr. Hill, you've joined us numerous times on our program, whether it's talking NCAA, what's the prognosis for Sanford or other teams making the tournament, and even talking some college football playoff with us last year. First off, thanks for having us, and I hope the summer's gone well for you.
Oh, it's been really good. It's been busy. You know, I think you think of professors and you think summer, we're just sitting around on the beach or something like that, and maybe there's a little bit of that, but it's actually been a really, really busy summer. Done a little bit of travel, mostly for work, though.
That's good.
We had our camp, which I think you guys talked about
we
earlier.
Did, yeah.
I've been teaching a little bit over the summer as well, so I got a couple of courses. They're just wrapping up here, and so yeah, I mean it's been busier than I thought. It's kind of flown by, but it's been a lot of fun. Just had a really good time. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the school year, ready to get back into that routine, and it should be a good time.
I'm not asking you to give away the syllabus, but
okay.
For the upcoming, I guess you guys are on semesters, right?
That's right.
For the upcoming semester, anything noteworthy, interesting, topic-wise that you have correlated into the program and the curriculum here?
Nah, we don't do any of that.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. No, we've got lots of stuff kind of teed up. I haven't really, honestly, the summer's been so packed with stuff that I haven't even. Don't tell my students this. I haven't even really thought about my fall classes yet, but
because you're finishing up
one
right now,
finishing
right?
up right now. But yeah, I'm teaching a sports analytics class in the fall, which is one of my favorite things to do. I've got maybe a small 10, 12 students. It's kind of nice, little casual sort of seminar kind of environment. These are students that I've usually had in other classes before. These are students that are already really heavily engaged and really far along in our sports programs. So these are excellent students, and so we're gonna do some fun things in there. So right now I'm kind of lining up a few projects, a few things for them to work on. They don't want to listen to me, right? I mean, that's all right. They're going to have to, right? But where they truly get the value from class and where they get the value from our programs is not from listening to me lecture about stuff, right? It's those experiences. And so the projects that we try to build into class, those type of things, we try to work with external partners, or partners here on campus, so that they're getting that real experience. You can get lecture material anywhere. I mean, there's YouTube videos, there's books, there's stuff like that. But it's those hands-on experiences that they're going to get. That's the stuff that's going to be really exciting. So I'm working on lining up a couple of those things. Those are conversations that we've been having here over the last couple of weeks, just getting those sort of things set up. And so yeah, it's going to be a great semester.
You mentioned value, but I'm always pitching ideas to you guys.
Go for it.
About something that you can maybe have for a project for your students. I don't know about transparency because a lot of it is not put out there for the public.
Sure.
But NIL deals, current NIL deals with certain student athletes. Let's just go college football. If you could do some kind of analysis on performance, return on investment, kind of in that realm.
Huge.
I know that you've thought about that, but
absolutely.
How challenging
so
would that be?
we've given a lot of thought to NIL. We've given a lot of thought to the portal, those kind of things, and approaching those from a data perspective. I think one of the issues that we encounter with NIL in particular is it's still, even with some, even though we see that house settlement and some kind of things that sort of help sort of bring some of those things together and maybe bring some order to the house a little bit, it's still pretty fractured. And so finding data, being able to say, okay, well, I know that this university has this many guys and they're paying, or they're being paid this much through brand deals or whatever that might look like. Finding that data is really hard. So there are some sites out there that do make an attempt, for example, to place a value and say, hey, Landon Roberts is coming out. He's a senior. He's going to be, a freshman at some school playing, linebacker or whatever. And we think his NIL value is going to be, 1.2 million or something
Sounds
like that.
good.
Of course, we can work to get that number up, but that kind of thing. So it's really, you got to have the data, and so the data side of it is really, really hard on that type of thing.
Dr. Stephen Hill joins us here on Three Man Front here at the wonderful sports industry program at Samford University. So I have to ask you, when you're dealing with your students, because we've had you on talking basketball and obviously the college football playoff. In regards to the students, is there one specific sport that they seem to enjoy diving into the analytics more than another, or is it pretty much even across the board?
It's not even across the board, but I would say there's kind of two ways to answer that question. So, everybody gets excited about the big sports, right? So obviously we're in Alabama, college football, to a lesser degree the NFL. There's a lot of data that's out there for those two things. Also for baseball, there's tons of data. It's kind of the original analytics sport, if you will. So you always find students that are excited about those kind of things. One of the things that I think is really unique and really interesting, and something that I really push our students to think about, is let's say that you played lacrosse in high school. Or let's say that you are a big, even something, it's not obscure, but even something like cornhole or something, right? Like, let's say you're just a huge cornhole fan. Or, we've seen, and I think they've talked a little bit about our relationship with Homewood with flag football, for example. That is on the rise, right? That is where you see the real opportunity for students to make a huge difference, right? There are tons of people doing analytics on NFL, on college football, on baseball, on basketball, and stuff like that. But when you talk about a sport like flag football, for example, I'll just kind of focus on that one for a moment. There's nothing. There's very, very, very little. There's some stuff from the Pro Bowl when they play flag football as part of the Pro Bowl games in the NFL. There's a little bit of analytic stuff that's been done there, but really it's kind of a blank slate. And so we've got a real opportunity working with Homewood, working with our students here to be able to kind of be, I like to think, and hopefully it's not like over-promising, but to be pioneers a little bit in a sport like flag football, or in a sport, I don't want to say more obscure, but a sport that is maybe not as mainstream and that's on the, it's ascending over time, right? So it's becoming more and more popular.
Hanging out with Dr. Stephen Hill, Samford Sports Industry Program. I'm getting used to the new name. Joining us, we're a part of Samford Football Media Days here on Three Man Front. Kind of thinking, if I was a coach here, I would lean on you guys and just having this here on campus for my particular program, whatever sport I was coaching.
Yep.
How much interaction do you have with the on-campus programs, or is it hey, we'll just wait, and if you come to us, we'll be glad to assist if we can?
It varies a little bit by sport, but the relationships that Dr. White has built over time, I'm starting my third year here, so I'm still kind of new. The relationships that he has built over time and that the program has built over time, and really just, we've been able to say, hey, there are real results. We're showing that real value by working with us, and so it's not a hard sell. So basically every sport on campus, we have students embedded within their programs doing analytics work of varying degrees. We worked with the football team last year. We'll continue to do that this year. One of the big things we did for them was working, kind of going back to your NIL and that kind of discussion from before, was talking about just like roster management from a financial perspective. Right? So looking at a depth chart, for example, and knowing that you've committed this much money, scholarship money, whatever that might look like, to this individual player, it's truly a business, right? We have finite resources and we've got this number of players, we've got to allocate scholarships, we've got to make sure that we're keeping track of eligibility, all those kind of things. And you would think that programs are doing that in a really, like technical kind of way. You'd be surprised how much stuff happens with Post-it notes on a whiteboard, right? So what we're trying to do with some of those kind of things is really, build more systems and build more, kind of tools that help around that to help to manage those types of problems that teams have.
Two-part question. First part, what's your favorite sport?
College football, 100%.
All right, college football. So how much of your love for college football has driven you to go down many different rabbit holes, not for your students, but for you personally in regards to analytics, in regards to your love for college football?
It's what I do for fun. I mean, there's really no other way to put this. I'll be sitting on the couch with my laptop. I'll, have a game on or something. We're kind of in a weird part of the sports calendar right now where, I'm leaning pretty heavy on Canadian football even, just trying to find. We can talk Canadian football if you want. I don't know how much that's going to resonate with.
I love a good conversation about the Rouge. If we can talk about the Rouge, that'd be great.
I do like the Rouge. I've also gotten into Australian rules football lately, so if you want to go down that path, we can we can do that. I went to Australia about a month ago as part of the program, scouting out some opportunities for students, and I got really hooked on Aussie football. So, but yeah, so it's been great to be able to there's the cliche, right? Like if you're having fun, you're not really working, right? It's that. So I can get to explore all these interesting questions, get to play with all this interesting data, and it really is fun. Like it doesn't feel like work.
Do you find yourself yelling at the TV during college football season? You're watching a game,
100%,
and you're going, all right, it's a 4th down and 1. You're from your own whatever.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Exactly. No, like seeing a team that, punts from the opponent's, 35 or something. Like you see crazy stuff like that. I mean, or it drives me crazy. Clock management drives me insane. I'm like, you're not out of this game yet. What are you doing? Like, where's the sense of urgency, right? Like, where's the aggressiveness that you would need at this point? Yeah, you're down a couple scores, but there's not a lot of time left, but it's not over, right?
Yeah.
So, those analytically driven decisions, going for it on 4th down, not punting maybe as much as teams tend to punt. That's changing a little bit in the NFL. We've seen.
So you think there's too much punting?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, teams should be going for it more on 4th down, 100%. And when I go, I'm fortunate to get to go to at least a few Bama games every year. For example, I graduated from there, go down there with some friends, and I'm that guy that's yelling, "Go for it on 4th down!" When when some of the older clientele around are kind of like, "Oh, we got to punt that away." I'm like, come on. So, I think teams tend to not be aggressive enough. There's the math there, the analytics behind that. So does support the idea that teams probably are not as aggressive as they should be.
It's an angle for our friends that, for entertainment purposes, do certain things during the college football 4th down conversion rate, or just attempts.
Yeah, onside kicks.
Onside kicks.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of. I don't know if you're the coach who never punts.
Arkansas, right?
Yeah, so he's a high school coach out in Arkansas. You've got a lot of YouTube videos and stuff you can see out there. I've had him as a guest speaker in my sports analytics class.
Have you really?
Absolutely. He's I would consider him a friend at this point. I think we're on the same page analytically, and so he's made a name for himself, obviously, as the coach who doesn't punt, but also onside kick basically every time. Going for it on 4th down basically every time. And the math, it's different at the high school level because the kicking game, for example, in the high school level can be a little sketchy at times. So maybe some of that stuff doesn't translate perfectly to college or to the professional level. But if you boil down the math and you look at the analytics, there's some opportunity there.
All right, so what's on the pipeline? Anything that we could be looking forward to in regards to yourself or Dr. White or the students that we can dive into the college football playoff this upcoming season?
So I'll be honest with you, I haven't turned my attention just yet. I'm about to turn the page to college football.
You're worried about the Grey Cup.
I am thinking about the Grey Cup. My Saskatchewan Roughriders are looking pretty good right now. They're top of the league. They're the current favorites for the Grey Cup.
I trust you.
I've got a friend who works in Saskatchewan, so he got me hooked on them. There were a couple Bama guys that were up there. Trent Richardson, for example, was a player up there. I've actually seen them play. I got to go to a game one time. So, but yeah, I am actually kind of thinking about the Grey Cup as you mentioned that. So I haven't dove into college college football just yet. I'm actually looking at developing my own rating system this fall. So that's something that I'd like to do here over the next couple weeks. There's some contests and things you can do online to kind of see how you compare to others.
Right.
It's something I've wanted to do. I just hadn't had the opportunity to do it. So that's something we'll be doing over the next few weeks.
Before we let you go, I'm curious about this. Obviously, I covered it when we had the BCS.
Mm-hmm.
And now, obviously, the college football playoff. Did it amaze you that when you put the comparison up last year,
right,
when you looked at the selection committee, and then you applied the BCS,
mm-hmm.
the formulas that they used back in the old days, and they were almost identical? Was that not kind of an oddity to you?
So I would be blunt kind of on that. I think the committee needs to go away. Nobody's asking me. Nobody's asking for my opinion on this matter. But there's no. I think Landry mentioned transparency a minute ago. There's no transparency. There's too much opportunity for politics. There's too much opportunity for leaks. We've seen some of that last year, for example.
Yeah, 30 minutes before the selection show, Brett McMurphy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So have a committee if you want to have a committee, but let it be driven by something that is reproducible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something that I can tell if I win this game or if I do this, if this happens, I can see what's going to happen in the rankings where there's no ambiguity about that, right? So, it doesn't have to be super complicated. And there's some issues with the computer rankings that were used in the BCS. Some of those were proprietary and there was no way to really know exactly what was happening under the hood with those. So there's room for improvement.
Sure.
But if they ask me, and again, I don't know that they are, but if they ask me, the committee goes away and you replace it with a computer-based system, and not everybody's going to be in favor of that.
That's transparent in regards to the formula.
That's transparent.
Because we get that in college basketball.
Exactly. To some degree.
Yeah.
I mean, and you could talk like the net rankings and stuff like that. There's issues there, and RPI before that and all that kind of stuff. Those are not perfect metrics by any means, but at least you know what you need to do. You can build a schedule that kind of optimizes for the net, for example. You can start to think about scheduling philosophies. You can start to think about do I need to be running up the score, in a particular situation? Like, does that scoring margin really matter that much, right? So, make it transparent, make it really clear, and I think that's one of the major improvements. Unfortunately, I think it's probably not one of the improvements that we're going to see in the short term. I think, if anything, we saw the changing of the seating, right, this time around with the buys, which was kind of a debacle. A little
straight
bit.
seating.
Yeah, a little bit. Straight seating is a great way to go. I want to see the 12 best teams.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it comes down to.
I got a prediction for the future. We go back to the computers, and we have a Hill White model.
Absolutely.
I like it.
We had Massey, we had Sagarin.
Yeah.
What else do we have? You remember?
There's a bunch. Billingsley.
Billingsley.
There's a couple other ones in there, six or seven, but and Sagarin I think might have been in there.
My favorite was in the early '80s, the New York Times computer poll.
Oh yeah.
That Auburn won the national championship.
Yeah, sure did.
The New York Times.
'83.
Yep. Computer poll.
Oh yeah, they've had guys that go all the way back to 1885 or whatever, and try to figure out Rutgers must have won it back in
2-1,
yeah, something like that in 1887 or something along those lines.
Would college football be better if we only had 3 downs?
It makes it a more offensive game. I mean, you really don't 2 and out is kind of a thing, which seems just bizarre to think about. There are some things I think we could borrow from Canada that I think might be useful, but I like the motion, for example. So
going towards the line of scrimmage,
you can go. Right now you got to be parallel to the line of scrimmage, right?
Yep.
So you can have motion towards the line of scrimmage. It's a bigger field, stuff like that. I actually don't really have that much of the Rouge is I'm kind of okay with that.
It was interesting, Dr. Hill, because I covered the Birmingham Barracudas.
Oh yeah.
When they were in town,
I went
and watching the Canadian game and try to acclimate yourself to the 3 downs and the Rouge and the forward motion and stuff like that. But I agree with that in regards to some of that. Dr. Hill, thanks for joining us.
Hey.
It's always great when you join us during the whether it's the March Madness or during the college football season. So always have us on standby when you come up with a great formula and want to talk some college football analytics.
I will let you know for sure.
You're the guy that we have to worry about when we're talking amongst ourselves at a tailgate. and you're just listening and you're observing and you're just shaking your head going, no, wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong. Wrong.
I try not to be that guy.
I know.
I try not to be that guy, but sometimes I am that guy.
Yeah. All right. More from Sanford. This is Three-Man Front on Jox. Well, it's been a great afternoon. If you missed any of our interviews, you can always download the Three-Man Front podcast. Go to joxfm.com. Download the app. Take us along no matter where you go. I was out yesterday, and I had an opportunity I was on the road, and I was able to watch Three-Man Front. That's right. On YouTube. In the car.
It's impressive.
Did I not show you this? I thought, I think I must have sent it. Did I send it to you, Conrad? I didn't send it to them?
Yeah, you mean in the truck? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believed you, Pat. My concern was that you were driving while
No.
we were
Watching,
No,
yeah.
I was not driving.
Okay.
Well, good.
I was not driving. But yeah, it was. Here, I'll show it to you. It was. Technology is a beautiful thing.
Look at that. Huh. Glad I brushed my hair.
Oh, wow. I didn't know you could do that.
Yes.
That is cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So.
Nice.
Yep. So my point is, YouTube, watch the show. We encourage it.
Yep.
Maybe not while you drive. But
No, that's what I was getting at. I just
no,
wanted
I
to
was
put the
not driving. I
disclaimer.
was the passenger.
Yeah, I wanted the
Yes.
disclaimer.
Yeah, I was
Anybody
the
who
passenger.
thought, oh, Pat does it, it's okay.
No.
Don't do
I
it.
was the passenger.
Okay.
So, keeping tabs on Molly, making sure she was doing what she needed to do.
Thank you. Well, another place that you can drive to is Big Whiskey's because they are your place for great food of all varieties with a full menu with apps, salads, burgers, and steaks. Their bar features unique cocktails, over 120 whiskeys, including whiskey on tap, and they have plenty of screens so that you can catch all the football action all season long. They also offer different food and drink specials for each day of the week. They have happy hour, and the kitchen is open late every night. So go check them out in the Stadium Trace Village off Highway 150 near the Hoover Mat.
So one of the underlying conversations that we've had today has been the start of the college football season. Oregon's Dan Lanning, he is advocating for an earlier start to the college football season, which is week 0. This would allow for a more streamlined schedule in the game, including a national championship game, which will be played on January the 1st, like it was back in the old days when Landrum and I were young whippersnappers. So the question is, when should the college football season start? We gave you 2 options on our 3-man front Twitter poll question of the day, which was week 0 around August 23rd, or leave it as is Labor Day weekend. And it's getting a little bit closer. 57% right now says week 0, and 43%, the old guard, says just keep it the way it is.
I wonder just the rationale, the reasons for our listeners. Why do you want to keep it the same?
People don't like change.
I know that some people don't like change.
No.
I get it. But if I asked, all right, other than change, what would be the reasons? I wonder how much of it just, well, it interferes with my personal schedule. That's the golf trip weekend me and my buddies do before football season starts, or I like to have that 1 week where I just get high school football and I don't have to fool with college.
That's true.
I'd just be
fair.
interested to hear why.
Yeah.
I'm all about it. Bring it on.
Because high school is about to start. It starts in week 0.
Mm-hmm.
So, because heck, we'll have 2 games in the books before Labor Day. We'll play 2 Fridays before the Monday Labor Day.
Yeah. So this Friday and next Friday will be the last 2 Fridays that we have for the football. Well, we got some open dates.
No,
I do like the bye weeks, the open weeks.
Yeah, and the question is, if you start the season earlier, do you work it in? Maybe not exactly the plan that Dan Lanning would like, but maybe you build in 2 bye weeks in the season for everyone.
2 additional, or because we get 2 now, right?
Well, 2, but maybe like technically, because some people will count week 0.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where you would actually add a 3rd.
So you might not be playing that first weekend, kind of like high
Correct.
school, but you'll be playing
Yes.
when everybody else is off later in the year. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's pass this thing.
Yes. So, but you're right. But like high school, we've only got 2 Fridays, 2 off Fridays. So me and you and Molly and Conrad only have 2 more Fridays.
Did Dan Lanning run this idea by Tony Petitti? Did he run
don't
this
know if he did that
by who else has been a curmudgeon out of the Big Ten and not wanting certain things? Brett Bielema? Has he run it by him?
He's always irritated at something.
Well, it's hot. He's a Husker fella.
I hope their fall camp's going well.
I do too.
Bert?
How are you going to live up to that, number 1 preseason ranking?
In what?
In some people's eyes?
Oh, in his wife's eyes?
I would say as far as the name of your school and the city that it's located in, 2 of the harder names to spell for people who are not good at spelling.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got.
That's good.
Text line is open, 205-834-9450. Going back to our interview with Dr. Stephen Hill here at Samford. Richard says, another great interview, 100 emoji times 5. We got 5. Dr. Hill with Sanford University gave such an awesome interview. He and Dr. Darren White, just wealth of knowledge and great people.
Very much so.
This one comes in and reads, saw this stat last week about how hard it is to make major leagues. Major League Baseball started in 1876. There has been less than All right, it's in the thousands. How many people to play in a game, Major League Baseball game, Pat? It's under
10,000.
Okay, well, you're not. It's 21,000.
Oh, 21,000.
So less than 21,000 people to play in a game. The Braves are affecting that number this year. You got cleats? Come on. This one, a lot of people don't want the season to end January 1st, and we're not the boys of summer, we're the boys of fall. Well, if we wait until fall and we're going to get technical about it, then we're not playing until when? November?
In the Deep South, do we even get a fall? It goes straight to wintertime. When in Nebraska, when did it actually start feeling like football season? Like maybe 2 or 3 weeks into the season?
Yeah, like September.
Okay.
But it was the type of thing where, like, in the morning it was really cold, but then by the afternoon it was in the 80s. It's just, I remember waking up
at spring around here.
Yes, I just remember waking up at like 5 a.m. going to practice and being in a full set of layers. And by the time I was going to class in the afternoon, I was in shorts and a t-shirt.
Mike chimes in. He says, if you make week 0 work, or week 1, then next there's going to be new week 0 and so on. 4th of July kickoffs and 1,000 degrees. Yay.
It's already pretty bad in the Deep South when they kick off anyway.
Darren from Tennessee. Okay, I'm going on a guy's trip to the mountains to have a good time. Which SEC football coaches should I bring with me that will make the trip awesome? And who do you think would drink the most beer?
Well, first off, Sam Pittman would probably have to be part of that traveling party, and he would drink the most beer. It's my opinion.
Sam Pittman for sure.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not into beer, apparently Brian Kelly has quite the collection.
Well, yeah. and Mark Stoops likes that Kentucky whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
Based on some social media posts.
Who are you depending on if...
Designated driver?
Well, probably would need one of those when you come off the mountain. But who would be the Boy Scout of the group? Eli?
I was thinking drink.
Just because he has glasses and he's got kind of a nerdy look, we always go to drink.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Clark Lee.
That's a good answer.
He's probably read a book on it. How to fashion a spear, a bow and arrow, and make fire. This one coming in, back to our conversation, 100% agree about too much punting. Say no to punts. Move week 1 up to where 2 bye weeks you have every year. Collins from Pell City, where they are. All right. Going back to Damian winning the punt, pass, and kick competition. 1 of 4, kind of a thin field. You can only beat who's man enough to compete. Congrats, Damian, Crimson Convict.
We're proud of you.
You know, back to the schedule thing starting the season, I think everyone's biggest issue, it's not so much of trying to start the season earlier, it's just the fact that there's too much of a layoff in regards to getting to the point of a national championship game. You know, they're trying to do everything they can to protect the bowl games and to keep those intact, but because you don't want that overlap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that might be one thing. We will continue to read your text messages. We'll do some Pat Ponders when we come back live from Sanford University on Three Man Front. A few more minutes here at Sanford University. It's been Sanford SEC. Listen to me.
What, SEC Media Days?
Yeah. So used Atlanta, right?
Well, we got folks here in the building that have admitted to watching SEC football.
Yeah, a couple people.
Some have coached with current SEC head coaches.
Yes, very much so. But we want to thank everyone here at Sanford University, Dr. Darren White, and all the fine folks having us each and every year during Sanford Football Media Days. It's been a good time.
Well, you can celebrate the kickoff to college football with us at the Bill Smith Buick GMC Jox Kickoff Party. It's at Regions Field on Thursday, August 21st, and the only way to go is by winning tickets. So to win a pair of tickets for you and a guest, text the keyword Bulldogs and your full name to 205-834-9450. Once again, that's the keyword Bulldogs and your full name to 205-834-9450. Winners are drawn and notified daily, and for more information, visit joxfm.com.
All right, we haven't done it in a while, but let's do it today. I got 5 questions. They've got answers. Hopefully, this is Pat Ponders.
I want to know what you're thinking. Tell me what's on your mind.
It's time for Pat Ponders.
Brought to you by Courtesy GMC in Trussville. Their summer sales event is still ongoing, so go by and see them right off of exit 32, I-459 in Trussville. Visit them online at courtesybirmingham.com. Question number 1. If LSU misses the college football playoff, does Brian Kelly return in 2026?
Yes. Even with a school like LSU, even with the amount of money that they have spent on the portal and thinking maybe they finally have the right recipe to get back to the postseason, that's a lot of money. And then the question becomes, if you're Scott Woodward, who is there a more high-profile coach with a either higher trajectory that I can see or an equal resume that I can replace Brian Kelly with and get people fired up?
See, I'm thinking a hesitant yes. I think he will be back, but the reason why I'm hesitant is because, it'll obviously depend on their record, too. But then to Landrum's point, it's like, who are you going to hire afterwards?
Yeah, I think he will be back because I think in order for him to get let go, it would have to be like a 6-6 type of year, which I really don't see something like that happening. But if you want my hot, spicy, controversial take on it, I would say yes, and Missouri wins 10 more games this year and they hire Eli Drinkwitz.
Oh!
Wow.
That is a hot take. Wow, I need to mark that tape. That'd be something that came to fruition.
Eli in Baton Rouge?
That'd be interesting.
That'd be fun.
That would be interesting.
Got to work on the accent.
All right, question number 2. Which SEC head football coach does the let me say that again. Which SEC head coach does the majority of the fans in the league hate the most?
Man,
I don't want to be the bad guy. No, you go ahead, Legend. You can be the bad guy.
I want to say that maybe Shane Beamer is gaining traction. I think out of respect, Nick Saban was probably up there prior to his retirement success. I'm sure Kirby is. I'll go with Kirby.
See, I was thinking Kirby. Or maybe Sark, just because they're like the new guys in the league. But mainly Kirby.
Is Lane Kiffin, is it one of these reactions, because we all have friends or family, or maybe in some cases both, where it's, yeah, but that's just Lane.
See, that's why I didn't say Lane.
Yeah.
No, I think people like him now. Now, yeah. I think when he was at Tennessee, maybe, you might have been able to he might have been the correct answer. I'll be honest, and this isn't, I think that the person that you hear, and I think a lot of it is because people just don't think that he's a great guy, I really think it's Hugh Freeze. You have a lot of people that really don't like Hugh Freeze.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. I'm not saying that's my choice, but
No, but I think if you did just a poll of all 16 fan bases, I think Hugh Freeze would win.
Yeah. You got some really good candidates. That's a really good question by you. You mark that. You put that on your Rushmore.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I haven't really thought about it since
Nick Saban retired.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Most people won't like Kirby because Kirby wins.
Exactly.
Okay? Now, and you can make the account for Nick because Nick won and Nick had opportunities at press conferences where, he kind of went after people. So
It's just a shame that Jimbo's gone because he was the easy answer after Nick Saban.
There's no question.
Yeah, that would have been the
no
easy
question
one.
that it was Jimbo.
I did just get a text. Eli Drinkwitz would get a lot of votes because
He's
he comes back. He comes off as a little smart alecky.
I think Brian Kelly would too. I think he would get some.
I think Sam Pittman would be most likable.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And based on the Netflix documentary, I think a lot of people will probably have a newfound respect for Clark Lee.
I agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For the way Clark Lee is.
I think you'd have a lot of people that said Lane was their favorite because just from a pure entertainment standpoint.
Possibly.
Which, yeah. Well, I'm going to say part of the reasons that people would dislike a coach if they knew certain things that had not made the light of day, they couldn't really justify their reason because it's like look over here, or look over there.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
All right, next question. What national college football fan base felt the most disrespected after the preseason coaches poll came out?
Most disrespect.
Did you say SEC or the whole country? Sorry.
Whole country.
Ooh.
Which college football fan base was the most disrespected after the preseason coaches poll?
I think some Clemson fans might be a little upset, even though they're still up there at number 6. I think you'd have some Clemson fans that were upset. And I think you'd also have Oklahoma fans that are like, really, we're number 26?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, I was going more towards Oklahoma because just being that close to keep that record alive, it was the first time since 1999
Yep.
that they had not made the preseason coaches poll.
I'll give you one. I think it's Texas Tech.
That's a good
I
one.
think it should have been higher.
Yeah. I mean, their fans, think about what their fans are expecting. With a $25 million roster and all the money that's been infused and the expectations. Coming in at number 24?
See, I'd probably say Oklahoma because they were right there on the cusp. And obviously they broke their streak.
Illinois is at number 12. It's 11 spots too high.
Who'd you say, Conrad?
Clemson or Oklahoma.
That's right, okay.
Oregon fans might be a little bit upset, but I understand you got questions at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
They're sold on him, but we'll see.
All right, next question. What's the fastest you've ever driven a car? Not the fastest that you ever got pulled over and given a ticket, but what's the fastest you've ever driven? I know you've told us the story about you renting that car.
Yeah.
How fast were you going?
125. And it felt like
Where were you?
It felt like 60.
That was coming back from Atlanta, right?
Yeah. Yep. I'd had a long week of work, was traveling, had a long layover, unexpected layover, then another long layover. I said, I'm not doing it. It was
Rent a car.
It was around middle of December, close to the holidays. I said, I'm renting a car. I'll be home. You folks can wait your 8 hours for the next flight. Guy said, hey, Merry Christmas. And it was a Dodge Challenger.
Ooh.
And that thing was so smooth, and it purred like a kitten. And I was just kind of on my own little world, and I looked around. I was near Talladega Super Speedway, and there was nobody on either side of the interstate. And I was like, what is going on? It was like Twilight Zone. I looked at the speedometer. 125.
How about you, Molly?
I'm not a fast driver. I mean, I've probably gone up to 90 if I need to pass some people on the interstate. But I wouldn't say, I mean, I don't think I've gone faster than that, though. I've been in a car where I've been the passenger and someone was driving very fast.
You lie, you fried, Molly.
No, I'm not lying. No, my parents would kill me.
What is the fastest you've ever driven a car while putting on makeup?
Never. You can't drive and put on makeup. Are you kidding?
Go and tell some of these women out there that do it.
Now, you can park and focus, but, like, I don't think I've ever driven while putting on makeup.
I can't believe more mascara brushes to the retina don't happen.
I mean, if
see
you're
it all
at a
the time.
stoplight, sure. But it's not like you have a lot of time to really focus. I don't think I've ever done that. Maybe like a lip gloss, but never like an eye.
Little spritz.
There it is.
Yeah, a little spritz.
For me, it would be on a actual road, like 110 on a. But one time I did. It was a very cool experience. I got to go out to Las Vegas with my dad, and we went to a driving. It was like a Corvette, whatever. My dad bought a Corvette, and you got to go to this club out there in Las Vegas, and they let you try out all the new Corvettes. And I got to take one around the racetrack, and I think I got up to like 150.
Wow.
Somewhere around that. And that was awesome. Absolutely awesome. And they let you go and do donuts and spin out, and they'll go and put water on the track so you can go and just like literally just mess up the cars essentially. It was really fun.
Cool.
Very cool.
What about you, Pat?
It was right at 100. That's it.
I feel bad now.
You're in the
Nobody
twilight
was
zone.
hurt. And I slowed down when I recognized it.
Yeah.
But do you know how slow you feel like you're going when you get back down to like 70, 75?
Oh, yeah.
Based on that, yeah. That's today's Pat Ponders, brought to you by Courtesy GMC in Trussville. Visit their online inventory at courtesybirmingham.com.
We continue live here from beautiful Sanford University on this Thursday. Three-man front on Jox. Three-man front, 152. Here on this Thursday, we appreciate Dr. Darren White, Dr. Stephen Hill, Coach Chris Hatcher, the entire staff here at Samford University, and especially our friends here in the sports industry program. Of course, Joey Mullins, who talented sports information director, for making this possible. Pat, another great visit. Love coming over here. I get to look at the back of the campus every single day from my home, but coming here, it never ceases to amaze me just what a special place this is.
Yeah, and they've already invited us back for next year, and the construction that's going on right behind us, just, man. And I know you and Molly haven't had an opportunity. I got the tour earlier this morning. I got here a little bit earlier, and let Dr. White show you what's going on. It's going to be – it's already just an incredible business school with just the technology. I know Molly did a post a little bit earlier. I think she was down on the second floor of the business center with the stock ticker behind her. I mean, it's really cool what they've done here in Homewood. So we appreciate everybody giving us an opportunity to come and hang out and learn more about this incredible school and the football team that I know Coach Hatcher was very disappointed the way the team ended up last year, but he's very confident. Just a really good guy, good coach, and I'm rooting for him to get things turned around.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting from his perspective and from Martin Newton, athletics director, that, wish that there was some secret remedy, some secret potion when it comes to fixing, air quotes, whatever you think may be broken in college athletics. But unfortunately, the malaise, the haze, the fog that surrounds it, it looks like that's going to continue, at least for the time being.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be much of a definitive guardrail, so to speak, or a definitive idea of what the future is going to look like. I mean,
not even hey, if we ever get to this, then we're fine.
No, I mean, Martin Newton was very frank, saying, look, there's more lawsuits down the horizon, and who knows what's going to happen from that point. So,
well, once again, we appreciate all of you, all of your interaction. Some of you really got the lead foot. Oh, my gosh. Posey said 146 miles per hour in a Honda Civic.
Ooh.
Sent from the app, 135 in an 18-wheeler through Texas.
Wow.
I'm telling you, there are places in Texas, it would be like Landrum. You'd look up and you'd be like going, oh, my goodness, because there's just nothing
That's how
around.
Utah is, yeah.
Thanks to Darren White, Dr. Darren White, Rodney Orr, Rob Pate, Martin Newton, Chris Hatcher, Dr. Stephen Hill. For Conrad, Male, Pat Smith, I'm Landrum Roberts. Thanks for joining us today. God is great. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday.